Hey everyone, Teal here. In this video, we teach you how to create, balance, and maintain a budget for your game project. The workshop is rather involved, but if you want to learn how to make every dollar count, keep watching because class is in session.
Hello everyone, I'm Steel.
And I'm Teal.
And we're with Studio Blue.
Thank you for joining us for our Creator Classroom. Tonight's topic is game development budgets.
All right, so as usual, if you are watching us live, please give us a follow, consider subscribing. And if you're watching us on VOD on YouTube, please smack that like button, click subscribe, ring that notification bell with tender loving care. Give us a comment, let us know what you think about this. Hello RPG Emma, and anyone else who may be watching, lurking, or otherwise doing the chill.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Thank you so much. BG gifting the sub.
Graceless Games gifted a sub to Emma. Woohoo!
Sorry, Graceless, I misread because BG posted right after you. He confused me. Thanks, Graceless. Thank you so much. Awesome, awesome, and more awesome. All the love to you guys. So, I will be giving the lecture, but Teal, give the introduction. What is a game budget? What exactly is it?
Well, simply put, it is your management of your money.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Your budget is what you're pretty much going to be following on paper to keep you on track.
Right. So
that you don't spend way too much money on stuff and with no hope of ever recouping it. Okay? Because the object of all this, right, is to make money on your game. Yeah. So you've got to control those expenses, but at the same time, make sure you put a bunch of quality into your game. Yeah. So that you will recoup. And
that costs, for the most part,
money.
All right. So we're going to go over the lecture. It's in depth in some ways and overview in the others, because what we can't do is give you guys an economics course in the hour and a half that I'm talking.
Yeah, it's going to be basically a blend of accounting, lots of heavy accounting with some economics. Yeah. I'm going to be keeping it as simplified as possible without going into a lot of detail or tangents.
Right. Now, BG says, we hear all the time on the forums, people who spend over 10K on the game, they never got released. Yes. And also, when someone says my budget is $10,000, and it's because they quote-unquote budget their time. So I'm a solo developer. I'm paying myself $20 an hour. Not really, but my time is worth $20 an hour. You know, I've spent this many hours. I've spent $10,000. That's not a budget. No. That's not a budget. So let's just dive right in. Let's do it. So what is this project going to be about? What is the purpose of it? Well, first we're going to educate you on the 3 types of budget size. We've kind of knocked it down to solo, small, and large. Right. When we say small team, we mean small team and large team. Right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So if you're a solo developer or you're part of a small team or a large team, the numbers and the things kind of shift. Now, these are guidelines. We're guiding this is all.
It's like the Pirates Code. It's more of a set of guidelines and actual rules.
So don't think that when we show you what a small team comprises of with budgeting, that it's black and white. It's not. Accounting, as far as formulas and dollars, that's just math. That's black and white. Right. But assigning, that's the project management side, and that's a little bit more fluid. So once I educate you on that, then we're going to analyze how to consider each aspect of your budget. Right. And that's where we're going to really teach you guys what to think about when you're allocating budget dollars. Right. And then we'll have a workshop scenario or scenarios with Teal. So we'll go to a BRB. I'll hand the reins over to Teal-chan, and she will have a spreadsheet and a whole bunch of information to work with. Yep. So BG says, never spend money that you need for other... Yes. That's absolutely true. No shit. Do not spend your grocery money or your rent money. Do not spend your rent money on this. On your games. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. You will die. All right, so let's just jump right in. Budget size consideration. So think of it like a sliding scale that's weighted dependent upon either initial cost or long-term cost, and it depends on what you are. So if you're a solo developer, you need to think more in terms of a higher initial cost. That's a better way to approach your budget.
Yeah.
You're going to shoot out a lot of money at first, and then because it's just you and your time, which is not worth anything if you're a solo developer. Don't write it off. Your time is your time. You're paying for your project, for your game with your time. It's called sweat equity. So your financial equity, your financial obligation is high up front and lower in the long term. It doesn't mean it's low in the long term, it's lower. If it's a small team, you are going to have a higher long-term cost than initial cost. It doesn't mean the initial cost is going to be low.
Right.
By any stretch.
No.
But overall, you're going to spend more longer than initially because you're going to be paying other people, contractors, people who are part of your team, possible founders fees if you have a founders company and you're making a game for a small company, an indie studio. Yeah. So think of it in terms of that. And then a large team is just high cost, like AAA games, large, huge game development teams, big. So when you're thinking in terms of money, if you're a solo developer, get your money up front. It's going to cost you more to start.
Yeah.
And the rest is mostly sweat equity. If you find that you're, as a solo developer, spending more money later on because you have to buy new features or new assets, you didn't project manage properly.
That's true.
I don't mention that in any of the slides, but I thought of that and I said, I got to probably tell them that. Hey, Reverie, good to see you, man. Welcome to the stream. And hey, Tron. I saw Tron's headache. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, Tron.
Smaller teams, you got to think in terms of that initial investment has to be there to get people in, but then you're going to pay more and more as time goes on because the project will evolve more away from initial vision.
Right.
Because more people will be working on it, and suddenly they'll go, hey, wait a minute. I can't do this here that I originally was going to do, this feature or this graphic or whatever. But I can do this, but it's going to cause more assets, and that's going to cost more money. Plus more time if you have to bring on more people. No, you're not a headache, Tron, but you had a headache. I'm your aspirin. Yeah. If you cut that down into its base form, I'm ass. All right.
Oh.
Tron and I have learned to really fuck with each other. It's great. All right. Large team, high cost all around. Just if you're part of a large studio with a large team project, get an angel investor, get a publisher to pay your costs. Yeah. It's going to cost you a ton of money. All right. Let's jump into the next part, what goes... Kitty slime chilling out over here. God. He's always surprising me. So what goes into a solo developer's budget? It's all fun and games until it's time to vote out the imposter, right, Tron? Right. First, you have the actual development costs. Okay, yes. That's going to comprise of the game engine, which may or may not be free. Nothing's truly free unless it's open source. So you got to consider that. You also have to consider your assets and potential licensing. So the solo developer, that last part, that's your sweat equity. Okay. So when you are creating that development cost, look at how much time it's going to take you and estimate it. Good God, you're never going to know. I mean, some of y'all have been working on your games for like 4+ years, right? Right. So kind of get an idea of your sweat equity. That's part of your, not financial budget, but your project budget. However, the game engine, yes, can cost money. Yes. Even if it doesn't cost you an upfront cost, there may be royalties. You may have to pay at a certain point once you have more capital. So that's right. With the Unreal Engine, after you make $1 million, you have to pay Epic. Fantastic for raising that bar really high, but you still have to pay them. So there's still have to pay. There's a cost. Hey, Feckies. Hey, welcome to the stream, man. Welcome Shadows took 5 years, 3 months, estimated 3 years. Whoopsie. Yeah. Hey, Fecky, awesome! Subscribe! Woohoo! A Prime sub. So, super thank you, Fecky, because you only get 1 Prime sub per month, I think, and you gave it to us, so mwah, love you. All right, where am I? Okay, so here we go. So you got to figure those costs in. Yeah. Figure in those costs. Assets, you need to figure those in too. And the big thing here is most solo developers shoot themselves in the foot on this. Know ahead of time what your assets need to be. You don't have to have an exact list with an exact shopping cart filled with stuff on the Unity or the Epic store. But if you pre-plan your game in that pre-alpha, that pre-production phase properly, and we went over that in another classroom. Yeah, project management. Right. If you do that properly, you'll have an idea of your assets earlier on.
Yes, you will.
And then you'll purchase your assets. And later on down the line, you're not going to have to dump another $2,000 or $3,000 on assets.
Yeah, you really, really don't want to be caught with your pants down on these expenses, because that will eat you alive.
We have spent in the 4 digits on the Rosenhearts. And a lot of that was catching sales on the Epic Store. Things that would have cost a lot more. But we started buying those assets early and during Black Friday sales, etc., specifically because we knew what we needed. Because we made that project management ahead of time. And then the licensing, if you're going to license anything, whether it be someone's music, someone's art, someone's IP, get that ahead of time. Find out those costs. Because
you really, really need to get that done.
Do not use something from someone else unless you pay them or get written permission that has been lawyerized.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. So what else goes in there? Well, there's some general admin expenses. There's the accounting expenses. Are you going to do your accounting on your own? Are you balancing your own books? If you are, good luck. Or are you going to hire a CPA? Or are you going to contract out with a CPA firm that accepts bulk amounts of business?
Right.
It's up to you. I learned this very early on. When you do not balance your checkbook, you run out of money. When you balance your checkbook, suddenly you have money.
Yeah.
When you live on a budget, you have money. When you don't live on a budget, you broke. So consider that. Think of that. If you have to pay an accounting firm to look over your books and keep track of your expenses, or you have to buy a piece of accounting software and teach yourself, those costs need to be figured in. Same thing with legal. You need legal protection if you're putting out a game.
Yes, you do.
Even if it's something like Legal Shield, which I highly, highly, highly recommend. Yeah, LegalZoom.
LegalZoom's a good one.
And Legal Shield. In fact, we do both. Studio Blue has both.
Yeah.
Because we need to keep our butts safe. We use LegalZoom for things like documentation and officiation, creation of the LLC, etc. And we use Legal Shield for our legal needs, our documentation, lawyering kind of stuff.
Right.
Or you can obtain a personal media lawyer. There's tons of them. How much can you afford? Right. So let's move on from there. By the way, if you have any questions anytime, throw them out. Teal is monitoring the chat. And so am I. So what else goes into it? The technical expenses. People don't think of this when they're creating a game. They don't think of potential things like cloud hosting. Hey, Bad Fox, good to see you. I'm always broke. When I say broke, it means I don't have any money allotted for just that thing. Yeah, we feel you, Foxy. We feel you. Technical expenses. So things like cloud hosting, that could be anything from like Carbonite, where you're holding your backup files, to an actual server that holds your game if your game runs as a service.
That's right.
So you got to think about it. You also got to think about your dev computer. Do not use a i3 Office computer to develop a game. Do not use your cheap old laptop you have left over from college to develop a game. Let me say it louder in the back. Get a dev machine. That's a cost. That's an expense. They run anywhere between $500 to $1,000 or more depending on your graphics card and CPU.
That's right.
However, don't overestimate. You don't need to buy an i9 7000 over 9000 with an RTX 3080, whatever the hell's out there now, in order to make a game. Can if you want to, but you don't need to. 1220. Okay, so you spent $1,300 because I'm smart. Also, you told me $1,300. Yeah, ours were both under $1,000 a piece, but we got
them on sale.
We got them on sale.
We caught them on sale. But yeah, $12.99 for a high-end dev computer is not out of the ballpark at all. Not going to get into how much our rig costs, because that's a lot more. So if you're going to do that, also factor that in. And if you're developing in virtual reality, you need to run virtual reality. So other dev tools like your IED or little fees. Yes. So thank you, Fecky. So I can get back on track. Little fees that can add up month to month. And when we get to the scheduling, which I'm glad you brought that up, Fecky, that'll come more into play in a little bit. But scheduling, yeah, IDE, yes.
Scheduling, like month-to-month expenses, absolutely get factored in.
Yes, you have to factor those in.
Now, other hardware. Now, this could be things like a microphone, a drawing tablet to draw your art if you're going to do your own art. You are a solo dev. You probably are going to have to do art at some point. And let me tell you something. For all the artists out there, It's easier to do it on a tablet than it is with a mouth. Prove me wrong.
Yep.
Microphone, if you're going to record your own lines, get a good one. We recommend Blue Yeti because that's all we buy nowadays. And webcams if you're going to do motion capture, because nowadays you can do facial mocap on a webcam.
Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice?
It's so crazy. Back when I used to do this stuff for a living, we'd have to have mocap suits.
Yes, you did.
This isn't the case anymore. You can do it with a webcam. So, but you need to buy that because those things cost money. Yeah, there you go. They're talking about stuff right now. That's cool.
No, they're talking about the cost savings that you can attain if you purchase a 1 year of something versus month to month.
Like we do at Carbonite. Yeah.
There are so many services out there that use that pay model.
We also do, I think, annual for Adobe, and it saves us a few bucks. So. Other software. This is what we just talked about. This graphics programs. Are you going to use Photoshop or GIMP? Do you have to use Illustrator or something similar for vector art? Do you need something like DaVinci for animations? That's what I do all of our Studio Blue animations on. Do you need 3D modeling software? Because Blender's free, but Maya and Max aren't.
Yeah.
And you know, and some Blender things that go with Blender, like Substance. I don't think Substance is free. These things cost money. Office software, you need it.
Yeah, you need it.
You need it. It doesn't have to be Microsoft Office. If you can get by on Open Office, that's fine. But you know, if your tool, and this is, we don't want to bleed too much into regular project management, but you have to make sure that the tool you're getting does what you needed to do for your project, and then you need to budget for it. Anything before I move on?
No.
Okay.
No.
Look at Adobe move to annual. Yeah, it does. It's not a massive savings, Fecky, unless you're a student, but it helps. Free Office. Beat you with your free Office software. And yes, tablets are amazing. All right. Also marketing. You have to market your game. If you don't market your game, you're never going to make a buck. Okay, you may make a buck, $1 buck. But you have to advertise somehow. Advertising on social media, advertising on forums, advertising by having two schnooks behind a microphones play your game on a stream on Monday night. Yeah. You have to advertise.
It's all about promoting. You got to get it out there.
Promote.
People aren't going to know about your game unless you tell them about your game.
Absolutely. No one's going to buy something they don't know about. It doesn't matter how good it is. And you cannot bank on being that 1% lucky guy who created Among Us or creates Phasmophobia, and suddenly a mainstream streamer picks up your game and your game is suddenly making millions of dollars.
Right.
You are not going to be Minecraft. The chances are very, very small. Yes, it is, Becky. Or Stardew Valley. Yes, Stardew Valley. Right, Stardew Valley, I think he created as a lark.
Yeah.
Like he just wanted to see what it would be like to make something like that, and it became all the money. So you can't expect that. So you got to advertise, and that costs money. Digital distribution. Putting something up on Steam is not free. It used to be. I think Greenlight, it used to be free.
Yeah, it used to be, but
it ain't free now.
Nope.
itch.io is free, but it's not as well marketed. So, you know, all of that, you got to consider. Steam is $100 per game. That's still not bad. That's still good.
That is a really good price.
That is really good. Considering what you get with Steam, that's really good. All right, so moving on. So what about small teams? And he's got a highlighter now. Okay.
Yes, a small team. Well, when we say small team, we mean like 4 or 5 people.
Yeah.
No more than 6, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about small team here.
Most of your indie dev teams are between 6 and 10, but we're focusing on the smaller end of that because things really start to change when you start adding in 10 or a dozen or something.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
So like Teal said, about 5 to 6.
5 to 6 is what I was working with, but yes, it can go up to 10, but you know, then you start getting out of small team into mid-sized teams.
Right. And we're not going to go over mid-size because it gets really grayish. We're trying to give you guys some hard numbers to work with.
Right, so we jump from small team to a large developer. Yeah.
Okay, so your costs when you're development, it kind of goes up because you have more people doing things. And you're going to notice this almost immediately. In your small team, the budget for development is game engine assets and licensing as before, but now suddenly your jobs go out to other people.
Yeah.
And when we list these jobs, please remember from our previous creator classrooms, especially the ones about indie studios, people wear multiple hats.
Yes, they do.
They do it all the time. So you need your level designers or designer, your writer or writers, your artists and animators, your coders, your sound, music, your sound people, Voice actors who may or may not even be a part of your team.
That's right.
You may be contracting them out yourself. Testers who may or may not be part of your team. You may be contracting them out. And like we said, there may be some doubling up. Your level designer might also be your writer. Your artist and your animator may be your same person.
Yeah.
You might have 2 coders, but only 1 guy doing music. Many.
Yes, multiple hats.
Very clever, Fecky. But I like our slime. I like that. The top hat, the straw hat.
The beach bum.
And I am belching up my Coke, excuse me. Okay. So yeah, so when you're developing your costs, know your team. Okay.
Yeah.
Know who your team is, know the hats they're wearing, and make sure you record that. BG says you may need extras too as dev. Yes, absolutely. 100%. A lot of times indie devs do things contract based where a person is brought on just for one job.
Yes.
And then they're let go.
Yeah.
We're talking about permanent team members, but what BG says in chat where you have to have extras in case people leave midway, that is absolutely something to consider.
That's right. See, this dovetails on project management.
Yes.
You're going to do all the project management stuff first.
Yes.
Developing your roadmap and stuff before you develop your budget.
Yes.
Okay? Because your budget is going to depend on what you decided on during your pre-production, pre-planning phase.
Right.
Okay? So you're going to have a good idea by the time you put your budget together who is going to be doing your coding and how many.
That's right.
And who your backups are. You're going to have all this in hand.
Right. Right. If you've planned it properly.
Yeah.
But again, proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance, and this does really this creator classroom really does piggyback on project management. It really does. This is the companion to it. All right, moving on. General admin expenses. Now, we're going to kind of talk a little bit about how this can change depending on the paradigm, especially in today's society, but let's assume that you are running some kind of a small studio area like out of your house.
Right.
Okay. So then you have home office expenses, which are internet and electricity. If you're going pure virtual with everyone else, are you reimbursing them for their internet and electricity when they are helping you on their game, or are they all on their own?
Right.
If you are reimbursing, if you are picking up part of that cost that needs to be figured, because that can sweeten the deal, you give them a per diem or a per monthum. That is not a word, Steele. But you give them a cost per month. I'm going to give you $30 reimbursement on your internet and $50 reimbursement on your electricity because I'm expecting you to work this many hours on my game.
Right.
If you're doing that, that has to be budgeted. If you're working out of, when I first started getting involved in the industry, and doing the 3D modeling, actually, I did 3D modeling for a company in New Orleans making a learning system called I Can Learn. And they did everything out of first a prefab trailer, and then they moved into the guy who owned the company's best friend's elevator store, elevator shop. So we actually
elevator shop.
So it's like where they made freight elevators. We were actually in the office area of working my butt off on 3ds Max, but that had to be figured in because the guy who owned this company creating this piece of software, he had to pay a percentage of that utility to his friend, because friends aren't going to let friends leech off their electricity.
Well, no.
Yeah, elevator shop. Yeah, freight elevators. People make those. Like they're made in actual factories, and then they're disassembled and put wherever they go. So yeah, that was my late teens, early 20s when I first was dating Teal. So anyway, but you got to take those expenses into account. You have to take into account that, and are you reimbursing? No, your own electricity and your own internet does not count. That's part of your sweat equity, or you could pay yourself a salary or a portion of the profits. Don't figure your own costs in. That's the cost of you doing business as yourself.
Yeah.
It's what you're paying others. Why does picture the business meetings being in the elevator? Okay, so quick sidebar, SB. We would actually go in the elevators and ride them up and down, and we shouldn't have, and I'm glad we never got caught because we got fired and possibly arrested.
Yeah.
Because we had no business being on those.
They weren't inspected yet.
They were not up to code. Accounting.
Yeah.
You got to do accounting. Get a CPA. Once you're more than just yourself, get a CPA or a CPA firm. Don't rely on yourself anymore. Now, that's not a black and white. Some people really love opening up QuickBooks. That's fine. Our recommendation is once you have more than 5 people, get someone else to do it for you.
Yeah.
Especially if there's payroll stubs. You don't want to do that by yourself.
You don't want to do payroll. Trust me. You don't want to do payroll by yourself.
No. Legal. Get that. Always get that.
Always get legal.
Never don't. But definitely get it if you have other people working underneath you. Every contract goes through a lawyer.
Yeah.
Everything. Revisions. All of it. You do this by yourself, you're going to get burnt. Contractors. I mean, unless you're going completely off of Fiverr for everything, which I don't recommend.
We don't recommend doing that.
Because you have no control. But if you're going on any kind of contract, get a lawyer, even if it's Legal Shield. And then finally, travel. Now, these are not massive expenses. This is one of the big caveats, especially while there's a pandemic going on. Most of the small teams, the small indie teams, are going to go to conventions, trade shows.
All right.
E3 if they're lucky. You know, PAC West, I think it was, yeah. All of that. But you're not going to be traveling a lot. You're just going to be going to places to, well, pimp your game. Yeah.
So you're going to have to pay for booth space and your promotional materials and your hotel,
right?
You know, food, that sort of thing.
It's all travel expenses.
Parking. Yeah, that's all part of travel expenses. Car rental. So, yeah.
Yeah. Travel is a lot, well, Fecky, it's a lot like being put in a trebuchet and shot at the moon, and hopefully you hit it, and we'll see what happens, right? I had a better joke. I had a much better. I fell flat, and we're going to move on. Technical expenses, cloud hosting. Definitely do cloud hosting, okay? If you're working with multiple people. Dropbox, OneDrive, pick a thing.
Yeah.
But don't, what you never want to do, oh God, what you never want to do is go, okay, I'm going to send you an email with this file in it. Go ahead and add this to your directory and update your master list. I'm going to email you these resources in this map.
Don't do that.
I'm going to email you the game design document. Don't. Because what happens if your game design document's the most current and they don't download it when they send you an update and you delete it?
Yeah.
Oopsie. So yeah, cloud hosting.
Dropbox.
It's really good. Okay, developer computers. So this could be a potential reimbursement or expensing. You got to decide that when you create your group. Do people have to bring their own equipment like a contractor, or are they employees and you have to provide them equipment? There are laws in place depending on your country and your state, how that works.
Yeah.
So figure that out. Do not. Thank you, SB. So yeah, you got to figure out those computers. Other hardware, drawing tablets, microphones, webcams. We've already been over that, but maybe more than one people knew it. You need to come up with that budget. Are you paying for it? Are they paying for it and you're reimbursing them partial or full?
Right.
Are they expensing it? How does that work? Are you reimbursing them as part of their regular pay for X number of months until you've paid for their computer? Or are you only going to give them a certain amount up front or all of it up front? You need to know all of that. Other software, graphics programs, 3D modeling, office software, that gets a lot more expensive when you have it in bulk.
Yeah.
A lot. So consider that, and consider buying bulk prices. Bulk prices. Consider getting several seats, like 5 or 6 seats of something.
you want to get, what he's trying to say is bulk licensing.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because a lot of times paying for 10 seats ends up being cheaper than going around and paying, okay, 1 seat individually or 2 individually. It actually works out better, a better deal to go ahead and get that 10 seat license. Right.
And maybe you have 1 or 2 seats left over. Huzzah. Like basically what Fecky's talking about with assets, but with programs. Application. Okay. And then finally, marketing. You're going to do a lot more. You're going to advertise more.
Yes.
You're also going to want to have some kind of launch event. You've got to have something. So when you're launching your solo project, it's more like, hey, build up the hype on social media. Today is launch day. Boom, Book of Shadows is out. You can thank me later, BG. But if it's a huge, you know, if it's a team project, you might actually want to have a launch event.
Yeah.
Where boom, something happens and your game goes out and everybody pops their virtual champagne. Huzzah!
Yep.
Then distribution, the platform, the host. Is this a physical copy? Is it a digital copy? Are you just putting it up on the on Steam? Is it also going on the Nintendo store? Is the Microsoft store going to get a copy?
Right.
All of that needs to be figured out, and you need to decide. Right, so BG got a publisher. That's actually a good thing. Solo developers, if you can get a publisher, you probably want to consider that. Because that is...
Because they handle a lot of this...
Yes.
This stuff.
For a cut.
Distribution and launch. Oh, yeah, for a price, of course. But they handle just about all of this.
Becky, it's not that it requires more marketing. It's that you have to figure more marketing dollars because you're going to have a bigger budget. That's why. Every game, regardless of the size of the team, requires a lot of marketing. How much? A lot.
Yeah.
But you have more to work with when it's just... You have less to work with when it's just you, unless you have like thousands of dollars, while teams will have more to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little less per sale. But yeah, find yourself a publisher, guys. Makes it easier. Shall we move on?
Let's move on.
Okay, so big team budget. We have Director Slime now.
Big teams.
Okay, so...
Big dev company.
This is everything up to and including big AAA companies, and this is just to give you a helicopter idea of what they have to go through. I'm not going to go as in-depth as I did with the others, because this is not going to as much apply to anyone watching this.
Right. But it's good to know.
It's good to know. So, they have to factor in the game engine, sometimes developing it because it'll be proprietary. You know, like Horizon Zero Dawn was created on a proprietary engine, while Final Fantasy VII Remake was created on the Unreal Engine. So those are two different costs. Assets. Are they buying any assets? Or are they creating them all in-house?
That's right.
That's something to consider. Licensing. Very important. You know, do they have the license for whatever characters, music, etc.? You know, if you're going to use... if you're going to do what Saints Row the Third did and play I Need a Hero Holding Out for a Hero, you need to buy the rights to that song.
You have to buy it,
You can't just use it because you're Deep Silver, and Deep Silver is awesome.
Right.
So, think about that. You have to have your leads, your directors, the people in charge, multiple level designers, writers, artists, coders, animators, sound engineers. I don't know why the S disappeared. I think the slime ate it.
Yeah.
Musicians, voice actors, and testers. In other words, you need a large team of people. And as we mentioned in our indie versus AAA, you're usually going to do just one thing.
Yes.
So if you're a level designer for a large team, you're probably just a level designer.
You're only going to be doing level design.
Right, right. Writer, tester, etc., etc., etc. Very rarely do you cross over. And I want to draw quick attention to leads and directors, because that's not as much of a thing for small teams and definitely not for solos. But there are people who get paid specifically to manage the creative process.
Yes.
I'm looking at you, Todd Howard. And that's their job.
Yep.
Their job is not to sit down there and make the game. Their job is to direct the creation of it.
That's right.
Hello, Hideo Kojima. All right, so let's move on. General admin expenses. They have tons of stuff. Studio rent. There's going to be spaces, places. There might be a building they own, or it might be a place they rent out. They have utilities, maintenance, what we like to call facilities.
Yeah.
Someone's got to clean the toilets. They have accounting departments. They have legal departments. They have travel expenses. Quick thing on that legal department. The one studio I worked, the studio that I worked down here the longest in Houston, had a lawyer on retainer who was the brother of one of the owners of the company, but he was still a lawyer.
Yep.
So they had a lawyer on retainer, and they were a medium-sized serious games studio.
Right.
Travel expenses all over the place. You're going to be going everywhere. If you work for a large team and you are one of the people they want to be a face or a voice, your ass is going all over the place. The rest of you too. So
yeah, you're a member of the marketing team.
Yeah.
So guess what? You're going to be on those planes a lot.
Costs money to send Todd Howers and Pete Hines out to E3 every year.
Yes, it does.
They don't sleep in the cheap hotels. Moving on. Technical expenses, cloud hosting, servers, especially if it's a game as a service.
Yep.
Workstations, because there's so many. Motion capture hardware, because they can do the big stuff. Other software, etc., etc. So, kind of like with the small teams, except much, much bigger, much, much, much more expensive.
Right.
These these companies can spend insane amounts of money on people and technological resources.
Yeah.
Stupid amounts. Especially if it's a game that's constantly being updated, like Final Fantasy XIV. I heard it's a pretty good MMO. Elder Scrolls Online, games as a service. Fallout 70 crap.
70 crap 6.
Yeah. Can't say it with a straight face anymore. Sorry, Bethesda. I love Skyrim. Moving on. Marketing. All the money goes there. Like, not all of it. So much. So
much
money. If you could see the marketing budget for some of these games, it would make you cry. But they spend a lot of money. They do.
And they have all these launch parties.
Big ones.
You know, big ones. You know, at gaming stores and conventions and the renting out halls. I mean, they just, they spend the big bucks.
So we like to nut punch EA a lot, but I want somebody to see if they can find out how much EA spends on its booth at E3. Yeah. That's a lot of money. If you can find out how much they spend for their booth at E3, post it in chat so people will start to cry. Then distribution, the platform, multiple, of course, hosts, of course, because who the hell is going to create a $55 million game and not put it on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC? Right. Lots of popcorn and fizzy drinks, Emma. There you go. There you go. Yes. By the way, and then you have the physical form. Yes. Okay. You know, the game CDs that you ship out with packaging and shit. She said CDs. And yeah, well, you know what I mean. I know. You know. I know. Those little round things. I love this woman so much. And then you've got digital, which doesn't have all that, but it's still, you have keys and shit. Yeah, or you have to pay for the constant distribution network. Yep. So it's funny, though, that Emma mentions lots of popcorn and fizzy drinks, because some of these launch and event parties for these games include massive contests. Yes. With paid prizes. Fallout 76 had a leaderboard tournament, I think, at E3, and that was part of the launch for yes, it was. I believe it was a like a tournament. And you're going to have professional actors dressed up in the costume of the characters and walking around cosplaying. These actors are not cheap either. It was not cheap at all to have smoke flood the stage for Cyberpunk 2077 and have Keanu Reeves come out. That's right. That was not $350. No. That was expensive. So all of that has to be factored in, okay? The whole reason we're making all these jokes is because when you're thinking solo and small, you're thinking in terms of money that you and I will actually touch. Right. When you're thinking in these, it blows up. So yeah. Let's move on. Okay, so the analysis of the budgets. First, the game engine. So factor in the cost of the engine, the licensing options. Please think about that. Okay. How much is it going to cost to buy the engine up front? How much is it per seat for yourself and others? Is there any licensing option? Like with the Unreal Engine, you're going to not pay anything until you get that first $1 million, and then you're going to pay a lot. Yeah, a sizable chunk. But are there options to go ahead and buy seats for the Unreal Engine up front? That kind of thing. Yes. Same thing with Unity. Exactly. Same thing. Same thing. Assets. Create a list of the needed assets. So our first piece of advice was to figure that cost of the engine and the licensing options available to you. Our second piece of advice is create a list of the needed assets before purchasing. Do not ever impulse buy assets. Please don't. Do not do it. Licensing. Contact the licensing holders for costs. Some of them will be willing to cut you a deal, especially if you've created a good product. Like, for example, Deep Silver put out an amazing game in with Saints Row the Third. Right. When they made Saints Row the Fourth, I believe they got both the rights for Missing You and You Got the Touch. I think it was You Got the Touch. Yeah. Which both songs play during the course of Saints Row 4. I guarantee you they did better getting that than they did at first, because they had already put out a game that was massively successful. Right. And those licensing people may ask for a cut. They may. So you got to be prepared to negotiate. Be prepared for negotiations. So down there at the bottom, you're going to see something that is consistent and persistent with every single one of the slides. And that is total your upfront and overtime costs for monthly, quarterly, and yearly. Now, you're going to go a little further than that when we actually talk about scheduling, because you're going to map that out according to the stage of your game, alpha, pre-alpha, alpha, etc.
Right.
But you also want to keep track of, and this is where we talked about earlier, I believe it was Fecky who said those month-to-months add up. So you want to figure in those costs per month, per quarter, which is 3 months, and per year. SB does say something that makes a lot of sense. It is hard to create the list of assets with RPG Maker assets sometimes because some of them do not show a full list with examples.
And that's very true.
That is very true, and that is a shortcoming of the RPG Maker asset store. One of the things that I love about both the Unity store and the Unreal store is that when you buy a asset pack, it has most of them have them laid out and you see what they are and what you're buying. If a pack does not have that, unless it's balls ass important or balls ass on sale, I won't buy it because I want to know what I'm getting. So, moving on. Budget analysis, analysis of your budget aspects, the development staff. So, first thing you have to figure out, this is the hardest part right here. You're going to have more difficulty with this if you have a team than anything else. First off, what is the market rate for each person? So what is the market rate for that person for a level designer, or a game writer, or a composer in their area, their country, their state, etc.? What is the market rate? How much could they potentially make getting a job where they live doing that? You have to know that if you're going to offer them a competitive amount and if you're going to budget for it. And if they're doing multiple jobs, like a level designer who's also a writer, increase by a percentage. Don't add, this is how much a level designer makes, this is how much a writer makes, we add them together. Ooh. Don't do that. You add a percentage on. And you got to figure out that percentage, and this is where it gets very, very fuzzy. Based off of how much of that they're going to be doing. Are they primarily a level designer who's doing some writing, or are they primarily a writer who's doing some level designing? Take their primary amount that they'll be making, that market rate, and then add a piece on from the other until you have a number that you, one, feel comfortable offering them, and two, they feel comfortable taking. Hey, Chaos, good to see you, man. And also, look at the overall cost of the person. Each individual person. Are they worth it? Is the amount that I am paying them worth what I'm getting? I will not pay full rate for a level designer who makes me one map. I don't care how good they are. If they're going to make me multiple maps, then I will pay them their market rate. If they're going to make just one map, I will contract them out a flat rate for that one map. Then I will shake hands and walk away. And you need to budget those two separately. Don't budget your one-offs the way you would budget your repetitive workers, your employees. If they're contract, reach out for quotes. Always do that. Never ever say, hey, I need you to be my level designer now. No. Don't. Find out what they do, see a portfolio if they have it, find out what their quote is, and make sure before you do that, before you contact them, have a full scope of work. Full scope. Statement of work would be amazing, but a full scope of what your project is and what's expected of them. For two reasons. One, it makes it a lot easier to budget. You can find out a lot more about, you know, hey, I know I need you to do all this, so how much is it going to cost me? It's so much easier if you already have that entire scope of work planned out. Second, they'll know you're more professional and organized, and they're much more likely to not just say yes, but stick with you. And then, are they working on scheduled pay, one-offs, or residuals? In other words, are you paying them by the week, by the month? Are you paying them by the day? Are you paying them per job? Like per map? Per asset? How are you paying them? And is there a residual? Are they getting a piece of the pie? Or are they not? So, those are things you have to think about when you're creating that budget. And again, total upfront and overtime costs, monthly, quarterly, yearly. Now we're moving on to the next analysis piece, general and administrative expenses. So first off, total up the amounts for home office by month, quarter, and year. Okay. If you're operating out of your own home, you don't need to do it because it is your expense. It's your sweat equity. If you want to pay, if you want to keep track of that for later to pay yourself a salary later, that's fine, but that's not part of your initial budget, because you're living there. Now, if you're working somewhere else, if you're renting out an office space over at Offices R Us, then figure that in. If the accounting and the legal or staff, treat them similar to game developers. What's the market rate? Or how much are you paying them? How are you paying them? Is it worth it? If they're retained, average the cost of use per month. For example, in the Studio Blue budget, we have budgeted legal shield per month. That is part of our monthly operational cost for Studio Blue. If you're traveling, average the cost per month per trip.
Right.
I didn't put down per trip, but per month per trip. And then, as always, total over time, upfront and over time, monthly, quarterly, yearly. If you're in a large company, by the way, it gets even more complex because you might have shareholders, stockholders, quarter statements, etc. We're not going over that. That is way beyond the scope of this.
Because they have people for that.
Yeah.
It's called the accounting department.
Bob in accounting. Technical expenses. So for cloud hosting, total up the monthly, quarterly, and yearly costs. It's that simple. How much is it going to cost you to use Dropbox, Carbonite, whatever, per month, quarter, year? If you can get away with paying less, going yearly, do so. People balk at, oh my God, it's going to cost me $99 to go yearly. Oh, but then it costs, you know, $10.99 to go monthly.
Yeah.
Trust me, if you budget properly, you'll have the money for that annual cost.
Right.
For software with licenses, total up monthly, quarterly, yearly. Same thing, same concept. You know, even if you're paying yearly or you're paying quarterly, find out how much it costs because it's going to come out of your budget. In other words, if something costs $99 a year, you still want to budget how much of that it is per month so you can budget for it.
Right.
Save up your however much $99.99 divided by 12 is per month each month so that at the end you can pay for it. This is the whole part of budgeting. Remember, when you budget, you suddenly have money. For hardware, servers, workstations, motion capture, etc., factor an upfront cost as well as maintenance costs. That includes physical maintenance, not an IT department. That goes under general staff. That's right. We've already been on that slide. But this is, you know, how much does it cost to fix your servers? How much does it cost there? You know, how many times do I need to replace my RAID drives? How often do I need to upgrade my memory? When do I need to buy new servers? That kind of thing. You know, what do I need to have allocated per month or year in case a router goes out? That kind of thing. So do, again, everything. Monthly, quarterly, yearly. It'll save you a lot of heartache later on. Moving on. Analysis of the budget aspects, marketing and distribution. Now again, we're going to get a little fuzzy here because I'm not a marketer. Teal is. But after a brief consultation, we pretty much have agreed this is kind of way to go. Yeah. Yeah, this is the helicopter top view down. Right. Yeah. So, figure the cost of the marketing. That's going to be your advertisement, social media, etc. So map out your entire marketing campaign. That is another creator classroom in its entirety. So map out that per month. Figure out how much that's going to cost. And then escalate as you go closer and closer to goal to launching, because you actually want to parabolically pay. Parabolically? Yeah. You want to exponentially pay more. Yeah, because, in the beginning, you're going to have very, very few marketing costs. And then as you get more into the project along the timeline, you're going to be ramping up your marketing. And then at the end, it's going to be marketing! As you pull back on all the dev costs, then the marketing takes over. Yes. Your last 2 to 3 months from goal to launch is all about marketing. Marketing. It has almost nothing to do with dev at that point. Yeah. The costs always go up. And launch month is insane. The month you launch your game is going to be the most expensive month you ever pay for marketing. For marketing. All right, and then distribution. Factor in a cost of distribution on platforms such as Steam, including costs for licensing and upkeep, if any. Factor all that in, figure it in, and as always, monthly, quarterly, yearly. Agape, hey, welcome to the stream, Agape. All right. I get Microsoft 360 on eBay for about $45 a year. That's awesome. Yep. That's super cool. So Steel has a budget cut in making a game. Not sure what that means. But we're teaching game budget, so yeah. Yeah. All right. Bring it all together. Bring it all together. So use a spreadsheet application like Excel, or if you're actually going to do accounting, use QuickBooks or something similar. Right. I think they have like FreshBooks and other stuff. Because they have budget worksheets already programmed into the software. But let's say you're a dork who only knows how to use a spreadsheet. There you go. Okay. So for your columns, that's the stuff that goes up to down. go month to month according to the phases of development. So pre-alpha, pre-production, that's including your vertical slice. So it'd be like pre-alpha month 1, pre-alpha month 2, pre-alpha month 3, 4, and 5, put all that in. Then production, which is creation of your prototype. So production's not alpha. Production is when you're actually creating everything that you need for your game. Small projects, solo dev projects may even skip this. This would be things like creating your assets, creating your base code, creating your game engine. You may skip right into alpha, especially if you're a small group or a solo, which is the creation of your full game with features. I defer you all back to our game creation creator workshop where we talk about that. Alpha is, for the people in back, alpha is you creating your entire game from start to finish with possible placeholders, but all of your features.
Yes, all of it.
Yes, it is a fully functional game. And then we continue because you're going to continue going along to beta, which is the refinement and asset inclusion. So you can add in your voices, your better writing, your actual real assets, pictures, images, textures that are actually high quality, etc., etc., etc. And then your pre-launch, which is your testing between beta and gold, sometimes called silver. You know, that's when you're kind of getting that last bit of bug testing in and tearing out your hair at 3 o'clock in the morning because you can't figure out why the character keeps going through the wall in this one particular area. And anytime you press a button, the character jumps right off into the seams in the abyss of the void. And I have PTSD. And then finally, golden launch, which is the release of the full game. And then the post-launch support, which is very important. If you are part of this community and you do not do post-launch support, which include patches especially, we are all going to rag upon you. Yeah. Because that is a cruel, cruel, cruel thing to do. Don't release a game and then not support it. Please. Just don't do it. Even if you only patch your game a few times, at least fix the game-breaking bugs. And then DLCs also include post-launch support. Notice we're not talking about games as a service. That's beyond the scope of this. Yeah. Because that's an ongoing cost that doesn't actually ever end. Isn't that pathetic? It just works. Yeah.
I forgot to add a column for post-launch support.
Okay, so on the okay. Cool.
Damn it.
It's okay. It's okay. So the workshop Teal's gonna do will bring you up to launch. That's fine.
Yeah, it'll bring you up to launch.
Is it a bug or a feature? Yes.
Yes.
All right. So that's what you do for the columns. For the rows, create a list of all expenses organized by your engine, assets, development staff, other staff, office expenses, technical expenses, marketing, distribution, etc., etc., etc. You will see that in the sheets that Teal is going to bring up in a little bit. And then for each cell, list the estimated totals by month by phase. So tally for quarters and years, create a grand tally, and that's your estimated budget.
Yep.
That's how you'll figure that your game's actually going to cost $1,200 or $500 or $5,000 or $50,000 or $500,000. You can't figure out how much your game is going to cost until you do all of the work that we just told you to do and figure it out. Don't guesstimate.
Please don't.
Because then you end up going on RPG Maker Forum with your crappy ass game saying that you just spent $10,000. And no one's gonna believe you. And we don't want to see that because we love you guys.
Yeah.
We really do. We make fun of situations like that, and this community, and other communities actually, all the indie communities can be pretty bitchy about that. Because it's very obvious if a person doesn't put out the work to estimate their actual game costs. So we make jokes and we all have a good laugh, but the reality is if you want to be taken seriously, whether it be in the RM community, the Unreal community, any indie dev community.
Right.
Have your numbers straight, please. Because then people will understand where you're coming from when you say, this costs this, this costs this. Not only will they see you as a professional and be more apt to work with you as another developer, but they'll also know that you are a serious person and not a shyster trying to get a buck out of somebody.
Right.
Because that's a huge problem in all indie game dev, is people trying to get a buck out of someone else. Ladies and gentlemen, here's some sample things to blow your mind.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII cost
$245 million.
More money than I've ever made.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto cost $265 million. Super Mario World, this is an estimate based off of the 1990s, $309 million, and Street Fighter 2, the arcade cabinet, $413 million. We're just including this to kind of blow your guys' minds.
That's in today's dollars, isn't it?
No, that's not. This is not adjusted for inflation.
This is not adjusted?
If adjusted for inflation, Street Fighter 2 is over $700 million. I did not adjust these because the numbers were stupid.
Okay. But so these are not adjusted for inflation at all? These I'm just explaining to everybody.
This is according to 2020 dollars, the most expensive game ever made. But if you look at data at the time, that's the most expensive.
Okay.
Yeah. The most expensive game ever made, according to 2020, is Grand Theft Auto 5. But we just wanted to show you guys just how much this shit costs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't math. I never could math. Okay, but let's go the opposite route. Let's show you guys some four games with very small budgets. You ready, Teal?
Yep.
Fez from 2012 for $500,000. It's made a lot of money. Braid in 2008 for $200,000. Hollow Knight, a very popular game, for about $42,000. And Minecraft, arguably the biggest selling game in history. Negligible.
Yeah.
Now, there's also Stardew Valley that was talked about. Among Us, Phasmophobia. These games have made insane amounts of money for almost no overhead.
Yeah.
Tetris was made for next to nothing. Tells you something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I misspelled it. So, moving on. That's it.
Yeah.
Any questions before we move on to the workshop? Because this is where I'm going to pass it on over to Teal. And Teal-chan is going to show you guys some spreadsheets and go over some sample budgeting. How many did you get prepared?
3.
Okay. You're going to do a solo, a small, and a big?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. When did MC switch from a small project to a massive one? What's that mean? When did MC switch from a small project to a massive one? Sorry, Fecky. Anyone else have any questions specifically about the presentation prior to going to BRB? Minecraft. Oh, when the guy sold it.
He sold it.
I think it was a solo developer, Becky. Like, I think it was one person in JavaScript, I believe. And someone can fact check me on that. It was just something he made, and just insane amount. The thing is, when you think about it, certain games did fill certain niche that was barely tapped. True.
Yeah.
Terraria. I mean, yes. Yes. All of those games, tons of money. Game creating seems very expensive. It can be.
Yes.
It can be, Emma.
Yes, it can.
It can be.
Yeah.
And if you take a step back and look at just RPG Maker. RPG Maker MZ is what, $80?
Yeah.
It's expensive. You think it's cheap until you start creating a game. Then it's not. Do you know, okay, if you want to make a game for next to nothing, download a free programming creation kit, an SDK, like C++, JavaScript, etc. Code your entire game from scratch.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're going to make a game for next to nothing, or nothing at all.
Yeah.
That's it. Minecraft, I think, was made in JavaScript. Steel and Teal, can you give us an example of your budget would be in this lesson? Yeah, we're going to show you in a few minutes, Chaos. We're going to show you some sample budgets that Teal's going to walk you through. They scratched the itch. People did it well. Yeah, Notch had a team at some point prior to Minecraft acquisition. I could be wrong. I don't know the full story of Minecraft, but I do know that he started by himself.
He did.
Maybe at some point he brought on other people because Minecraft started to make money, and then it made Minecraft money. Anyway, so if anyone has any last minute questions, I'm going to hit the BRB button now and get ready to bring it on over there. If I don't see anything like in the next second or two, I'm just going to transition over and take a quick break because I also got to go turn the food downstairs. The paid plugins for an RPG Maker game can be used again and again. Yes, same thing with you buy blueprints for the Unreal Engine off the marketplace. You can use them over and over again. And you can absolutely factor that in. And that's something you need to think about. Nostalgia, a very strong point to use. This is true, Espy. You're bringing up great reasons as to why those games were very successful.
Yeah.
What's up? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong, Emma? Emma B.I. Hang on!
I think Emma wants to ask a question.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not gonna. Don't worry. I will give you guys a couple extra seconds. I may have to run downstairs to make sure dinner doesn't burn. But yeah, once Emma asks their question, I'll go ahead, we'll answer it, and then we'll switch over for you. Okay. If you code your whole game, don't you need to still get graphics? You can make them yourself. I mean, you open them up in GIMP, make them yourself. Yes, you can. Yes, you can code your whole game. If you make all your graphics in GIMP or Paint or whatever, there it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you can do the whole thing by yourself without ever having to pay anyone for anything.
Yes.
So, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go to BRB and get ready to set Teal up. Then I'm going to go downstairs and make sure I'm not burning dinner. I will be back. If you have any other questions, ask them. I will answer them when I get back. You ready?
Yep. Let's get this done. Okay.
Be right back.
Yep. Hey everybody, we're back and I am piloting. As you can see, I've got a spreadsheet up and we're going to be walking through 3 different budgets together. The first one we'll do is the solo dev, where it's going to be quote unquote the cheapest, and then we'll go to small team where there's more into it, and then large teams. Now, I don't have exact numbers. I didn't have the time to research all the exact numbers. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pull numbers out of our butts and put it in here. The point of this is not the actual numbers, okay? The point is to show you the process and what all goes into creating an actual budget spreadsheet, okay? So for the purposes of this presentation, the numbers don't matter. It's the process, the thinking that I want to get across. I know, SB. Oh no, numbers! Ah! So yeah, we can make this. You can make the numbers as silly as you want. It doesn't really matter. As I said, what we want to do is go through the process of this. Okay. Hey, human. Archeia human, welcome to the stream. You got here just in time for the rows and columns of stuff. Okay, this is how I set this up. This is a monthly budget from start, the very first month, all the way to the last month of launch. So basically, this is an 18-month gaming project from start to finish. I have it divided up in the months. When Steele mentioned quarterly and yearly, that's easy enough to put columns in for, you know, the first quarter, second quarter, you know, at the end of first quarter, at the end of second quarter, etc. You can put those in. You can also put a column in for yearly. You can make this as detailed as you want. For this purposes, I just have it divided out by month because that's primarily in the trenches what you're going to be working with day to day. I know, 18 months, not in this day and age. As I said, this is not based, the details of this is not based on reality. But I wanted to show you this, that the setup is what you're going to be using for your own budgets. Okay. So not only do I have the months put up here, but I've also grouped these together. You've got key milestones in this row and the production period. So key milestones, we've mentioned vertical slice at the end of pre-production. And you recall what goes into pre-production. After the vertical slice, you've got now your production time. Your list of your 6 months of production time. Then you have your alpha stage, these 2 months. You have your beta stage, these 2 months. Then you go gold, these 2 months, and then you launch in your final month. This keeps everything organized according to your project management plan. So at each stage of your project, you have your hard numbers and you know what your target is and what you should be staying within. Okay. For solo devs, you're most likely not going to have an income stream coming in.
Right.
You're just doing this yourself. So mostly being self-funded. So I don't have any income put here. However, if you get lucky and have somebody fund you, or you come upon a windfall and you're like, yeah, I'm going to put this windfall into this income. Yep. Yeah, by all means do it. Yep. You know, that's great. But for most people, you're just not going to have an income during this at all. No. If you're just by yourself. So you'll be focusing on costs and keeping your costs within reason as much as you can.
By the way, if at any point you need us to make the this bigger, I know it's kind of, I'm looking at the screen here, it's a little zoomed out. If you need us to zoom in, let us know. Otherwise, I'm going to be quiet, let people talk, and just add in when I need to add in.
Yeah. Can you guys see this? Well, let me know. Yeah. It's important for you to be able to see this. Right. So I'll wait a minute and let you guys let me know.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the meantime, yeah, I did forget the column for post-launch and patching, but you would put that column here.
Yeah.
After your launch, you're going to have a column here for your post-launch and that sort of thing. Then you'll have your total.
Okay, so they've been zooming in on the Twitch app, so go ahead and go to view, and we're just going to make it a little large.
Okay, let's see, view.
And just say zoom in. Just zoom. And then go to about 200. To make it a little crazier on you, but okay, let's not do that. Click zoom again. And go to zoom again. And do custom 150 or 130. That'll do. Thanks. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, make it a little easier on y'all. Yeah.
Love it.
Because it's turned off.
Okay, how is that?
That should be better for you guys.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, thanks for the patience, everyone. All right.
Okay.
Oh, Becky, thank you for being here. Lots of love. Catch you later.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Okay, so development costs. We're talking about upfront. you have to have your game engine. So let's say that you're going to buy a game engine up front.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to purchase this outright.
So we're just going to go ahead and say you're buying a license for your game engine.
Right.
Hypothetical gaming.
Hypothetical gaming engine.
So what are we going to call it? I mean, remember, the prices, the numbers that we give are purely hypothetical, right?
It's all just in the cloud, okay? Right. It doesn't matter.
Right.
I'm going to say 500.
Okay. No, that's fine.
Okay. And also, in the very beginning, you're going to need to purchase your assets. Okay. You're going to front load that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've got to get a bunch of trees. I've got to get a bunch of flowers and grass, and I got to get wall textures, and I got to get clothing and shaders and stuff like that. Oh boy, I need to have some different assets.
Them water shaders, though.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're going to have, yeah.
750. Okay.
750.
Right.
Okay. Licensing. Your licensing costs will be up front as well.
Right.
Because you're like, I really, really want to have Mickey Mouse in my game. And so Disney's going to let him go for...
That will never happen. Oh, that's great. It's great. Oh, God. Someone get Michael Eisner on the phone.
Okay. Now... solo developer. Now, we did talk about this. We talked about sweat equity. We talked about you're not going to put every single frickin' payment salary cost into here, okay? But what is going to be happening is, and we're going to, let me see if I can figure it. I'm going to go out here.
Oh, okay.
A little bit out here.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're a solo developer. Let's say that I know Chaos is like, yeah. Okay, so let's say that you can work on this game for 3 nights during the work week, and a little bit longer on the weekends.
Yeah.
So we'll say 3 nights a week plus 1
weekend.
Yeah,
so what she's doing, just so you guys understand, she's paying herself a salary.
Right.
Which is, it's retroactive for a solo dev, but she's basically factoring in how much she plans to pay herself once the game starts turning a profit. Because you can't pay yourself money you don't have.
So, this is the time that you've carved out for yourself to develop this game week by week by week.
Right.
You can work on it for 3 nights a week for 4 hours a night, in the evening.
Right.
Okay, you get home from work, you have your dinner, you do something a little bit with the family. Okay, I have 4 hours I can work on this before I have to go to bed.
Right.
Okay, so you can do that 3 nights a week. Over the weekend, okay, let's say that you're busy with family stuff and everything on Saturday, but on Sundays you can work on it for 6 hours.
Sounds like reality.
So, that's so that you've carved out your time. Okay, how much is your time worth? Let's say,
now remember, this is carving yourself out a salary that you're going to reimburse. You're paying yourself at a later date.
Right.
So let's say that you're going to pay yourself $20.
Okay.
Okay, this is not necessarily, this is, again, we're just fabricating money to
right.
We're using numbers to teach.
Okay, so you have 3 times 4 is 12 hours plus 6 hours, so you have 18 hours a week. Okay, 18 hours a week.
Yes.
Times,
which is not actually going to work as a formula, but
20 hours.
She's mathing in her head.
That's $20 per hour. Equals.
Oh, go ahead, use the formula. You have a spreadsheet.
I happen to know that it's 360.
This woman maths in her head. It's terrifying, guys.
Okay. Okay, so that's 360 a week.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have 4 weeks in a month. So 36 times 4 is.
I'm not doing this. Yawn, girl.
Okay. 36 times 4
So it's what, 1,440 a month?
Yeah. I'll just put the 0 in there since I'm doing this. Okay.
All right.
So this is how much you're going to be paying yourself, quote unquote, paying yourself a month.
Right.
A $1,440.
Now again, this is sweat equity up front. This is you determining how much you're going to pay yourself out of the profits for your time. It's retroactive because of what? Because you're a solo dev and you can't say your sweat equity is budget equity. So there's that $27,000 that somebody said on a forum that their game was, you know, that was not the budget on their game.
No, that's not the budget on your game.
Right. That is...
This is your time.
Your time. So what Teal's going to do now is she's going to zero it out. Because that isn't actually part of the budget.
No.
They're just showing you how you would factor that in.
Right.
So let's zero it. Zero it, sir.
Actually, it's down here.
Oh, poop. She did? Oh, you're so smart. Look at your girl. Look at your girl.
So I split it out here. This is not part of total expenses.
I just fist bumped her because when we were planning this, I had mentioned zeroing out solo dev costs, and she says, "I think I got this," and she beat me in Excel.
Yeah. So this is how I split it out down here. Your dev salary is your salary is split out from all your other cash expenses.
Wow.
Okay. But it's added back in because you need to have a net profit and loss statement.
But it's not the budget, it's how much you get at the end. This girl needs to be an accountant. You should do accounting for people. Are you a CPA?
No, I'm not a CPA. No, not a bit. Okay, if we want to put in a raise, Teal would shoot us down. Yeah, I probably would. It's the money!
Well, Chaos, she actually does handle the business side of this.
Okay. Okay. So, this is our development costs. Now, our general and administrative expenses.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, so, we're having our own little independent business, so we need to have somebody do our taxes for us.
Yeah.
Every year. So, so we have somebody do our taxes for us for April.
Oh, wow.
Of this year. And then we have somebody do our taxes in for the following year.
So basically what we've determined is that April is the fiscal year for this studio.
Yeah.
Cool. By the way, that's something that you all determine when you form an LLC or a corporation. You determine what your fiscal year is. A lot of people will do January 1st, but some people do like Halloween. Some people do the day it was formed. It just depends. So in this hypothetical example, this one-man studio, their fiscal years...
It coincides with the tax year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, which is also a big thing people like to do. All right.
And it actually makes it easier for those of you who are independent contractors and you have to pay your quarterly taxes.
Yes.
This will make it easy because, as you know, the first quarter is January through March, second quarter is April and May, third quarter is June, July, August, fourth quarter is September through December,
etc., etc., etc.
So anyway, so this guy pays to have his taxes done every year. So that's the accounting. Okay, legal. He needs to let's say he goes through legal seal because he's got a couple of things that's got to get looked over, a couple of contracts, a couple of things like that. So you know, he's going to pay $100.
There you go.
Up front, and that takes care of all his legal.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So you can see month by month the expenses that this guy is going to be incurring for general and administrative.
Right.
Not a whole lot. Because it's just a one-man shop.
It really is actually really cheap to do business if you're one or small shop. It really is. The GA expenses for Studio Blue is not that much. It's the technical expenses where we get our butt hit.
Okay, now we go to technical expenses.
Ooh.
And this is where there's, as we said, there's a lot of front loading on a one-man studio.
Yes.
As opposed to larger studios that can parse it out a lot better. So let's say that he's paying for cloud hosting by the month. He's on a monthly subscription. Okay. For all of his cloud hosting. Yeah. You know, he has a Dropbox. He has
Dropbox business.
other stuff.
Yeah.
So his cloud hosting per year is $50.
Sure.
Oh boy, he's got to buy a dev computer because he has a a Hewlett Packard
480, 486.
Right, he has a 486.
He got himself a Pentium. He got a Pentium.
And he's got to buy a dev computer. So go ahead.
I want to go with BG's cost of $1,200.
We can do that. Yeah, $1,200.
The man beast computer.
Okay, here's the thing about this. Yes, you spent $1,200 of your you're going to spend $1,200 of your money up front to buy it. However, and this is a nice thing about having tax accounting.
Yeah.
You can actually, through the tax accounting, you'll be depreciating, expensing out that asset over the course of a year.
Yeah.
So it'll help you when you're computing your home office expense on your taxes to parse out your $1,200.
Now, full disclosure, Studio Blue cannot offer tax advice legally. We are just saying what we would do hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
Yes.
Yeah, somebody said repair cost, $1,900.
Probably.
Yeah, you're not wrong. So this guy spent $1,200 to buy a dev computer.
Sure.
Okay. Now he's going to be doing his art. He's going to be doing his own art, so he has to buy a drawing tablet. Okay.
That's about accurate, actually.
He has to buy a microphone because he's going to be recording some narrated lines. You know, in the beginning, there was 2 worlds. Okay, he's got to buy this microphone. So, what do you want me to put down?
You just go ahead and put down 150.
Yeah, 150. Okay. And he's got to buy a webcam.
$2. No. that's probably about 100. I mean, you can put 100. These are all
These are all just blah.
Right.
Okay.
Although if Bad Fox is still around, drawing tablet for $250. Let me know about that one.
So he has to put out money up front to get these this hardware.
Yes.
And then on software, why do we have PowerPoint?
Because it's supposed to say, I don't know. I don't know why you put Photoshop.
It's supposed to be Photoshop. Well,
it wouldn't be a Studio Blue stream if something didn't screw up. This is the first time it was ever something written incorrectly on an Excel spreadsheet.
Okay, so we have to purchase a Photoshop.
Yes, we do.
Okay, and so whether it's up front or you pay a subscription,
right?
That it all depends. Yeah, thank you for the dirt. Yep.
Well deserved, sir. Well deserved indeed.
So, just for the purposes of this, let's say that he's just going to pay it all up front. He's going to buy Photoshop and stick it on his computer.
Yes.
Yay. Okay. And okay, he's got to get this 3DS program. He's going to stick it on his computer too.
3DS. 3DS is what 3D Max used to be many years ago. That's funny. Doesn't matter. You're fine. Yeah, Max.
Okay.
Any number you put is wrong, so don't worry.
$100.
You have no idea how much it costs. Any idea? You're fine, honey.
Yep. It doesn't matter. And then he's going to buy Office 365. Okay. Again, you could expense it out, and I'm going to, you can make a monthly subscription for Office, or you can just pay yearly. And yeah, I'm going to pay for it. Okay. So,
all hypothetical numbers.
This is all hypothetical numbers. So, yeah, he's got a lot of upfront costs.
Yeah.
In the first month, and that's just normal.
Fine.
Okay. Now we get down here to the marketing for advertising. You don't do anything with that until near the end.
Right.
When you actually have a product.
Right.
Do not start advertising before you have something at least in beta.
Yeah, something to show.
You need something to show.
And that's even if you do early access, correct?
All right.
You have to have a product to show.
So,
otherwise vaporware.
Yep. So, yeah, this guy, so every month he's got to spend advertising, on different platforms. He's gonna make flyers and put them up, whatever. So yeah, he's gonna spend $500 a month on his advertising.
So it's not gonna go out. It's not gonna exponentially go up for him. He's just gonna. He's just
going to spend $500.
Flat amount, okay.
Yeah, flat amount. You know, honestly, you know, it could go up or down.
Yeah.
Let's have some fun here on Going Gold. Let's see. It's going to be $750, and then he's going to spend another $750, and then he's launching $1,000. Woo!
So that is $3,500 to advertise a game. Teal, is that a lot of money for advertising? It's basically a week's worth of pay-per-click.
Pretty much. Okay. So I put it to late. Yes, you do. Absolutely. You don't start advertising until
late in the game.
Late in the game.
Okay.
That's his advertising dollars. Right. Okay. Now, he's going to put this on Steam. That's his platform. He is going to his whole distribution platform is going to be Steam.
Okay. Are we going to do a 100 upfront for Steam Direct and then call it quits, or are you going to kind of show more costs for things like maintenance and shit like that? Just a question on how you're going to do that.
He's not even going to think about doing anything until he's got beta.
Okay. Cool.
Because anything can happen before here.
Yeah.
And you know, the project can even get abandoned.
Right.
So you're not going to pay anything for Steam until
the late beta
you're
phase.
Right here.
Yeah. Beta phase. Got it.
You know, he has an upfront cost,
which would be 100. That's actually that is actually accurate to put your game up on Steam. So any numbers you make after that would just be maintenance or what do you call it? Advertisement or other things.
Just other stuff for Steam. Yeah. So after that, you know, he'll just have some maintenance, whatever.
And it's all hypothetical.
It's all hypothetical. Okay. Yeah. But this is where you're going to budget for your distribution for that little game.
Because it would be really shitty if you came up to the point where you have something to put up there, early access or not, you can't pay the
real cost, please. Chaos.
To quote Bugs Bunny, no.
No. You'll have to do, as I said, you're going to have to do your research and work with your own purse strings in order to come up with your budget. The numbers here, not accurate, not real world. No. Don't even think it.
We are literally doing this.
Literally doing this as an exercise to show you the process. Okay. Okay. All right, so now we get our totals out here. Month by month, this is how much expenses you have that is not salary, and then you have your salary expense here.
Right.
So then this is your total.
So the budget, excuse me, what you are budgeting is under total expenses cash.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't include a dev salary to be reimbursed. The reason that Teal, correct me if I'm wrong, honey, is showing this because you want to be keeping track of profit and loss.
Yeah.
However, when we're talking about making your budget is going to be the grand total of line 41.
Here is your total budget.
Oh, okay.
For everything.
Okay, and the actual game budget itself is
so what? Here's your totals. Okay, how much over the whole life of this project, my game engine will cost me $500.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
My assets will cost me $750. This is over the 18-month period of this project.
Right.
Okay. My accounting is going to cost me $500. My hosting, my cloud hosting, is going to cost me $50. So that's what this column is. This is how much each of these things is going to cost you over the lifetime, the production of your project.
So now I understand. So the game itself is a budget of $35,000, but it's costing you $7,885 to make.
Right.
So when you go on the forum and post about how much the game costs you to make, you would use that number right there.
This number.
That's your out-of-pocket expense to create this hypothetical game.
Yes.
But when it comes down to you have the game, it's gone gold, it's launched, you're making money, and
you want to make this amount in order to break even on your game. That's how much you want to make to break even.
That's it. So
anything above that is going to be profit,
which you would then use to put hopefully back into the company to make your next game. So if your game made $50,000, that $35,000 less than 50,000 would be the profit of your company,
right,
to make your next solo project.
Yeah, and then you'll put that that $20,000 into your next project.
Right. So if we can go back to that last category before we move on to the bigger stuff. So honestly, guys, if you get nothing else out of this, line 41U, that's the number you look at as how much it's going to cost you to make your game.
Yeah.
So if you filled out this spreadsheet right now with your costs figured to make your game, whether it be in Unreal, RPG Maker, Unity, Godot, it doesn't matter. That's your out-of-pocket expense. That's how much it's going to cost you, you know, start naming off people in chat, to create your game.
Right.
And then you want to make more than line 44U to turn a profit.
Yes.
All right. Good job.
Yeah. This is the solo dev example is the simplest of the budget spreadsheets.
Yes.
Please let me know if you have any questions or need clarification on how to set up this spreadsheet, because this is the simplest one to set up. Right. I will wait a couple of minutes so that people can type their questions.
While you're typing your questions and asking Teal anything, Teal, do you think maybe we could put a mock-up of this online?
I think so.
Maybe put like a Google Sheet and link it to the video. Just this, so people can see it and perhaps use it for themselves.
Yes, there's also other online resources.
Okay.
For really detailed and complex budgets.
Okay, so that'll be in the description.
We will put those links in the description as well.
Yeah, so if you're watching this over YouTube VOD, you can do that. Now, obviously, we want to give them their quote-unquote money's worth. Do you feel at this point, after they ask their questions, is it good to show them small and large?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is, because most people will be either solo dev or small team.
Right.
Large team, I'm showing for illustration purposes to show you what all would go into a large team budget.
Okay.
Is it everything? No, it's not an exhaustive list. Trust me, there's so many more things that could be accounted for.
Yeah.
The bigger you go.
Yeah.
But for most of us who are solo or small team, this is a very good template to follow.
Okay,
you can put more stuff in here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, if you have something that's not on here, it's a development cost, put it in. You need to. You need to be very, very detailed about your costs.
Okay.
Because this is your money.
Yes. And the more you go in depth with this ahead of time, the less surprises and the less chances of you crashing and burning.
Steel, what would your dream budget be until what would be the reality of that budget be?
Well, if I was gonna have a dream budget for the first Rosenheart game, it would be, I would say about 5 million.
Yeah.
That would be, I would love to have 5 million to burn on this game. I would make the game exactly the way I want it. In a short amount of time. And
then we would just divide out the costs.
Right. And
we would use a small team model, and we would just split up the cost. We'd drill it down by month and stick to that budget.
Hey, thank you so much for the gift sub, Graceless. Gift subbing Chaos. You are the man, Graceless. Lots of love, buddy. So what would the reality of that be? In other words, if he's asking, what would you see be a more realistic thing? In other words, I have a dream budget. What would be a more realistic goal?
A realistic goal would be... if
I was going for a high-end budget.
If you're going for a high-end budget with this... Yeah. 500K.
500K? Okay. There you go.
500K.
So a lot less than what I want.
Yeah.
But if we got... But the truth is, if we had $500,000 to make this game, we could...
We could make it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so...
Graceless asks... Oh, no. Human asks, do you have any real-life RPG Maker game budgets people have shared? No, but... there are a couple of forums where I think it's on Reddit that people ask questions about these things, and you can surmise based on the questions and the feedback what the range of the game budget that they're looking at for their particular RPG Maker game.
You can also probably...
people are really shy about publishing their financial data.
It was really difficult for me to get the stuff that I got in the presentation. Like finding out how much it cost to make some of those games took a while.
Yeah.
I had to dig, and estimate at some points. For the indies, for the small ones, not the big ones. You can look on Reddit. Reddit's huge. Teal's 100% right on that. Quora, you can ask the question. Graceless says he mentions a few of the forums. You could try to Google To the Moon one shot and see if either one of those actually shows their budget.
Yeah.
But I believe those were small teams. And then, yeah, you can definitely ask BG if he's around. And if BG wants to share it with you, he'll tell you.
Yeah, BG has already done something like this.
Yes, he's published a game, Book of Shadows.
Yes.
It is a gold commercial release, and I believe he kept track of it.
So, yeah, he's a good resource.
Yes. But having said all of that, I can guarantee you that any game worth a salt nowadays, you're going to be spending several $1,000s. It is, I mean, I just can't imagine you putting out, unless you're making everything yourself and it's all sweat equity and the only thing you're buying is the engine, I can't imagine any game going out for a couple of hundred.
No.
It's going to be in the thousands.
It's going to be in the thousands, at least, okay?
This is not a cheap industry, but it's still cheaper than film.
You know, anywhere from, total, we're talking total.
Yeah.
You know, anywhere from 5 to 10K.
Yeah.
You know.
Does that mean that BG spent that much? I don't know. Only he can answer that.
Only he can answer that. So, any other questions about this?
The solo engine.
Because, yes, we're going to be throwing more detail into small teams.
I want to thank Teal real quickly on this. I got a little confused and kind of threw a bit of a curveball earlier about the dev cost. I didn't realize she had it out in the profit margin and loss margin, and that's actually the better way to do it.
It is because, as you will see, getting into larger and larger teams, you're going to be putting together your budget along with income statement and projected statement of cash flows to pitch to angel investors because they want to see all this paperwork. They want to see your projected budget, your projected income statement, your projected statement of cash flows, and you have to have your salaries on there. That's part of it.
And we've mentioned this many times before. The most expensive thing about development is the salary.
Yeah, it's people.
Yes, that costs the most.
People are always going to be the most expensive. It doesn't matter what kind of business organization you're in. The people cost is the most expensive resource. Because people like to eat. Okay, so let's move on to small teams.
All right.
Okay. Teal, which is what a lot of us are.
So, Teal, while you're doing that, I'm going to go downstairs and make sure I'm not burning the house down.
Oh, please don't burn my house down. Oh.
See you in a minute, honey.
Okay. Small teams is where now you can start having some revenue, seed money to help you fund some of this. It doesn't have to come all out of pocket. So, for the purposes of this example, let's say that you're going to start your crowdfunding when you start your production. So you're going to go on Kickstarter and GoFundMe and other stuff and start getting money coming in. So we'll be really generous. Let's just say that you're going to pull in, you know, $500 a month, and you know it'll go up and down. You know, sometimes you can pretty much count on at least $500 a month. Some months in the actual expense sheet, which is income statement, you will probably see a lot of fluctuation. You know, for August you'll actually see $1,500. For September you'll actually see $400. Right? That's just reality. But for the purposes of your budget, you know, hey, I can count on having $500 a month for crowdsourcing. Okay. And that's all the way up until all through your whole production until the game goes gold. Okay. And you'll have other sources of revenue. Let's say you're getting into it and your rich Uncle Joe says, oh, well, you're making a game, huh? I like games, so let me go ahead and give you $1,000. See what you can do with that, son. All right. And then, oh, Christmas, grandma's like, oh, you're working on a game. That's so nice. I want to support my #1 grandson. Here, you can have $1,200. Yay! It's generous relatives. But your revenue, everything is accounted for. You may have even multiple sources of revenue. I just put down typical would be crowdfunding and sources like very generous relatives or some kind of a windfall you want to put towards it. That's where you would put it here. Okay, so you'll have roughly a rough revenue stream coming in. It's not much, but it's something. It's something to help offset some of these costs. So yay. What is the hardest expense you have to do? The hardest expense you have to do. That's probably going to be the people expense, because you're projecting over time. You're projecting now what you think it's going to be costing in 1.5 years. And yeah, what if there's a crash? What if there's a boom, a bust, a bubble? You know, all kinds of market forces can be at play. So a level, let's say an artist could be worth, we'll just say, you know, $500 today. And you think, okay, I got $500 budgeted for this, but something happens in the market that you didn't account for, and you know, you may end up having to pay $750. You see what I'm saying? So that really, people is the hardest thing. Going rates, that's going to be the hardest thing to account for, to project, and you have to use your best, most educated guess on what you could realistically spend for the month on artists. Did that answer your question, Chaos? I hope it did. If it didn't, let me know. I'll try to get more clear on this. But having a business background, I always build a percentage in for market forces, so that I'll have a more accurate budget down that I can see down the road. It is, and yes, that is the hardest thing you could possibly do, is that. So we've got our little bit of a revenue stream here to help us offset some costs. Okay, so let's get into the development costs. You'll see here once again, there's a game engine, and your team has to have one. And if you don't have one, you have to buy one. Somebody has to. So, yep, you're gonna have to buy a game engine. Okay, whatever. Okay, now you're gonna have to buy your assets. Again, you're a small team, and you know, maybe you can buy some now, and some down the road. Okay, I'm getting into it. Oh yeah, I'm probably gonna need to. I'm not gonna wait. I'm gonna buy these assets here. Okay, but then after that, you're done, and if you may even want to buy some. You're planning on buying a few more at the alpha stage. Okay, so this is your total asset spending over the life of the project is going to be $550. But you know, you're going to be spending some in the very beginning. You're going to be, you know, you want to spend some when production starts. You know exactly what you want. And then in the alpha phase, you're like, yeah, I know I'm probably going to need, somebody's going to say this or that. I'm going to budget $50 because we're going to probably need a couple more assets. Okay. Licensing. you want to have some really, you want to use a song. Let's say that you're going to have a training montage, so you want to use Eye of the Tiger. You have to license that. So you pay that up front because you know you need it. Now here, starting here and all the way down, these are your people costs. And now you know you have, now you see there's a lot more people involved than just on the solo dev. You've got your level designer, which is probably the solo dev that would be here. He's the level designer. And then you've got your writer, who starts up in the second month writing the scripts and writing the documentation. Then of course here's your artist and animator, and you're going to be paying them. So I'm budgeting $500 to start them off, and then I'm going to be paying this and such rate for the rest of the time. And going back over here, you're going to want to split out their time. Are you paying them for a number of hours they're working? Because there's a whole bunch of stuff they got to do. So you're going to pay them an hourly rate for a set number of hours. Or are you just going to pay them for one or two things? So you just pay for those one or two things. That's what you've got set out in your project management document. So this is where you're going to put out the numbers right here. So in this example, we're going to be paying a couple people, artists and animators, up front for some stuff. And then we're just going to, we know we're going to have to pay, according to the contracts, this much. Okay. And you just keep, and that's how you just add on to it each month. You know, okay, I've got two artists and two artists and one animator.
I'm back.
Okay, that's what I've got. That's what I'm planning on having for this project. So what are they costing me? And this is where you account for it. My two artists and my one animator. And I'm just going to put this out all the way across. Not realistic at all. This is just fuzzy math.
Chaos is asking, where do you get the licenses for the music? You get it from the person who owns it.
Yes.
Owns it. Excuse me. You get it either from the person who owns the music character or music character or music, artwork character or music, or the attorneys that represent them. So that's what you want to do, Chaos. If you want to license something, we've got to contact either the person who owns it or their legal representation and sign up a contract for licensing.
Yep.
By the way, the house is not burned down yet.
Thank you. Okay. You've got to pay your coders. Whatever the going rate for coders are. Multiply that by number of hours per week, per month, and how many of them you have.
Right.
How many of them you're planning on having.
Right.
So let's say you're planning on having 4 coders.
Okay.
And whatever their rate is. So
$150 a piece, so you're paying $600.
Yeah.
Which is, none of this is realistic.
Yeah. So that's what you budget for. These people are going to be coding for you every month. Yes, during the alpha. And then we're going to fix some mistakes in beta. You only need 2 coders for that.
There you go. Can we bring the view up? It is still a little on the small side.
Okay.
It's just view, zoom, 1/3. And we'll do that to the other one. Sorry, I should have been here to direct.
Okay. Right. There we go. Is that better, guys? Okay. All right. And of course, you're not going to need coders for golden launch in this hypothetical example.
Right. In reality, you most likely are for bug fixing, but
for bug fixing,
let's just say for the sake of saying.
Right. Okay.
Not realistic, but we're playing.
Okay, and you have one person who's going to do you'll have one person who does sound engineering and music.
Yeah. Your audio engineer.
You're going to have your audio engineer. Yeah. Really swell guy. And his rate, he's going to be charging you, $200 a month to work on your stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
And including Alpha, because he's got to make some changes.
Right. Assuming that if everything works out, by the time you get to beta, you're just putting his stuff into your game. Right. You don't need anything else made.
You won't need him after that.
Or you can learn to... Well, yeah, Chaos. Again, these are all hypotheticals. If you're a one-man shop, you better learn how to code.
Right. Okay. So then this game, you're going to... let's say I have some voice actors. Okay, these guys are under contract.
Yeah.
So, you won't need them until late alpha.
Yeah.
So you're going to have like 4 voice actors and at $100 apiece.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're so cheap. They work for peanuts.
Literally.
So this is when you're going to, according to your project management roadmap.
You're very welcome, Emma. Thank you so much for stopping by. Catch the rest on VOD if you have any questions. Lots of love.
Thanks, Emma. You're only going to need your voice actors for this amount of time, so this is how much you budget for them. And then lastly, your testers.
Right.
All your bug testers and everything that's also under contract.
QA, baby.
You're not going to need them until your beta. Okay? And let's say you have 6 testers at 100 a piece.
That's actually kind of indicative of reality. Testers, QA doesn't get paid nothing.
And when it goes gold, you're going to need a few of them. Let's say you just have 1.
Ah!
Yeah.
Okay, it's Bethesda then.
At launch, yeah. At launch, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right, because we're Bethesda. So you budget for your testers. I'm going to need this many testers, and this is when I'm going to need them, and this is the rate, and I'm willing to pay them. So this is my projected budget rate, $1,500.
There you go.
Okay, so now you have your total development costs by month, and then for the life cycle of the project,
that is completely unrealistic.
Absolutely.
In reality,
absolutely,
be more about 2 to 3 times that.
Oh yeah.
But this is just for hypotheticals. Just imagine that number is going to be a lot bigger for reals.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
But do I have any questions so far on what goes into accounting for dev costs?
Yeah.
Basically, here you are again. You're projecting when you're going to need these things, and how many people are going to be working on it.
Right.
How much are you going to need? How many assets and when? What licenses?
Did we not pay the level designer and the writer because we're the level designer and writer? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't put that in there because I wasn't there yet.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. I went strictly down here.
Okay.
But yeah, level designer, which is going to be, let's say us, okay? You're going to start paying what the time is worth starting at the very beginning.
Right, because I'm assuming that in a small business, you're paying yourself a salary at that point.
Right.
Yeah. So it's different than
quote unquote salary.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So.
And if you get yourself an angel investor or publisher investor, then you are paying yourself a salary.
So we'll just say that my time working on this is $1,000 a month. Yep.
Deal.
And it's terrible. Oh yeah. I hate myself so much. Yep. I absolutely hate myself.
Oh shit, honey, I love you so much.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Oh, okay, all the way to launch, huh? Is that the headache cost right there?
Yeah.
But the thing is notice how it's different, guys. We're not going to be subtracting like we did last time. This is actual costs, because assuming it's a small team, you're funded. Yeah. You're funded at some point.
So your writer, you don't need them for the whole life of the project. You just need them for right here.
Well, gee, thanks. Okay, I guess I'm cheaper than you. We're having fun with this, guys.
We're having a lot of fun with this.
This is not, like I said, again, one more time for those in back, this is not indicative of reality.
Please don't think this is reality.
This is just filling in the numbers.
Okay, right. Yeah. Because, as I said, I'm going to repeat this probably ad nauseum. You are projecting the cost of what you'll need and when you'll need it during the life cycle of your project. And broke it out by month. And there goes Alexa.
Yeah, she is chilling.
Okay. Moving on to your general and administrative expenses.
Okay.
Okay. So, basically, home office or a studio.
Yeah.
You're going to need to pay for, let's say, rent. You're renting a space. You'll have to pay for utilities and water, maintenance, that sort of thing. So that's what all goes into here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just say home office / studio.
Yeah.
Because that is...
Could be what we hypothetically did.
Right.
So why don't we... May I throw this out?
Yeah.
Why don't we put out, for reals, why don't we put out 1,000 a month, saying that what we're doing is reimbursing other people on the team. Yeah. This is not correct at all, because it would change depending on who's working at what time.
Right.
This is just to fill in a number. This is absolutely not realistic.
No. You're gonna do your own legwork and figure out what these numbers are going to be.
Right.
But it costs to rent that space, to have that space for everybody to work. It's going to cost you $19,000.
But for example, if without scrolling, if you see how the L column doesn't have some people in it, that $1,000 for home office studio might be less. It might not be 1,000 until the O column, when you factor in the voice actors, that kind of thing. So we're just putting $1,000 across the line for brevity's sake.
Yes.
But if you're reimbursing people for their home office, or deferring expense, or allowing them to expense, or whatever, this number is going to change depending on the contractors or the employees or whatever you have working at that time.
Yes.
So it will never be the same cost all the way through for a small team.
It will not.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so for accounting, you have a CPA that you go to. So they're going to do your books for you quarterly.
Yeah, there you go.
And so you pay them quarterly payments.
Yeah. Accurate. Okay. Teal just told Steele her game work costs more than his game work.
Yeah.
I'm a cheapo. Nice. There it is.
There we go. So your CPA does your books quarterly.
Yeah.
So that's how much you pay for your CPA.
Yeah.
All right. Travel. Okay. You're going to be wanting to... This is all part of... This is all part of promotions, conventions, that sort of thing.
Yay.
So, yeah. You're going to want to budget for your travel expenses.
Right.
So it's right here. You're going to be, oh yeah, I've got to go to conventions. I got to go to trade shows. I have to promote myself.
Video says travel is zero due to the pandemic.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
We're still doing hypothetical numbers though.
So, yeah, we're renting booths and that sort of thing. So, yeah, we're going to be spending this.
Oh my God. That is a lot of money.
Because we have to stay in hotels, and there's going to be several of us in there.
Can I use the amount?
And airline travel flights, that sort of thing. But
can I use the amount of money when the TV show is part of the book at the comic book?
You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's cheaper too. It's cheap. Like we'll just say it's all local stuff.
Okay.
Hypothetically. 600, 600, 600.
Does that make y'all feel better?
That makes me feel better.
Sleep at night? $600? Right. Okay.
It's not realistic.
I can't believe this. Okay. You have legal fees and expenses, contracts at the beginning of every year that you want signed. Okay, so you're going to be spending some amount on getting once a year, getting these contracts in place and
like a flat rate lawyer.
Like a flat rate lawyer. That's what you're going to be. Yeah. So this, you're saying, okay, at the beginning of every year, I estimate it's going to cost me this much for a good lawyer to review all the contracts before they're sent out to all these people.
Right.
And
possibly a publisher.
And a publisher, investor, distributor, that sort of thing. So, yeah, I'm budgeting for my legal advice.
Very cool.
Okay, so now you have your monthly G&A expenses. It's all tallied out here. This is how much I'm going to be spending a month on this stuff.
Pretty much video, yes.
And so for the total life cycle of the project, this is how much I'm spending. I'm spending $25,000.
Accurate. Accurate. You see, the general expenses and the administrative expenses do go up if you are reimbursing or expensing equipment for your contractors, which technically you're not supposed to do, but it is. Depends on the laws of your country.
Last 3 blanks. So April to June, things will return to normal.
It's just making jokes.
Okay.
About 2022
because
of the pandemic.
Okay.
That was a CVID joke.
Okay. Now let's go down to technical expenses. Again, small team.
Yeah.
I can't believe I said PowerPoint.
That's so cute.
Jesus Christ.
You're so cute.
Photoshop, bitches. Okay.
Somebody get a quote on that. Photoshop bitches, Teal 2020.
You can tell I just cut and paste on this thing. God damn it. Okay.
We're supposed to be professional.
I know, right? Okay. So, it's similar to a solo dev, except you've got a lot more people involved.
Right.
So, you're going to be spending a certain amount per month on your cloud hosting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a terrible amount, but it is an amount.
Yeah. So let's say you spend $250 a month on cloud hosting.
Yeah.
And this is going to be pretty much during the life cycle of the project.
Yeah. Okay. The numbers keep adding up, guys.
Okay. And now we got dev computers. Okay. Some people have computers already, others do not. So the ones that don't are going to have to get computers. So there we go.
Okay. We bought everybody budgets. Well, we could just say that's the reimbursement cost. So we're gonna give that much as how much we're allocating to reimburse a slice to each of our devs. There you go.
There we go. Okay. Other hardware that has to be purchased. Again, this is reimbursement. An artist, oh no, you got them commissioned and they need a new drawing tablet
because it broke.
Because it broke, and and you want their work. You really want their work, so you're going to reimburse them for a drawing tablet. Okay, so a set amount.
Yeah.
Yeah. And same for microphone and webcam, just equipment that folks like a voice actor.
Right.
You really like this guy's voice, and he said yes, he will voice your main character for you. And he gets halfway into doing his lines and his microphone just dies.
Or even worse, you contract him out and all he has is a headset. How many Skyrim mods have you and I played where the voice actors, you can tell the disparity between who has the good mics and who doesn't?
Yes. Yes.
So this would be a case. Now, in this example here, please remember, always look at the laws of your country and your state or province and see what the difference between contractors and employees are. Again, we are not lawyers. We just know from experience, always make sure you're not treating a contractor like an employee or an employee like a contractor, because you will get in trouble.
So we're allocating $500 for reimbursement there, $250 for there, $200 for there.
There you go.
Okay.
Again, just throwing out numbers.
Yeah. Okay. Other software. This is we're looking more at subscriptions at this point rather than buying something outright for somebody.
Right.
So you're paying for seats.
Yes. Licenses. Yep.
So that's where this is, and this is where you got to decide: am I going to pay an annual cost? So every January I'll have a cost, or am I going to pay a monthly cost per month per seat, and have it spread out throughout the year?
Again, we'll always recommend. I personally will always recommend go annual if possible.
Right, annual cost. Right. So we'll just say that.
It seems like it's a lot, but in the end, you save a lot. Most of the time.
Right. Okay. So we can, like I said, we can choose to do it up front, and that's actually most times it's going to be cheaper to do that than it is to pay by the month. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. Okay, so here is your total tech expenses by the month. Okay, and then you have it totaled up. This is your total tech expenses over the lifetime of your project.
Video brings up a good point. Maybe July to July will work better, so it's not wham after the holidays.
Exactly. That's why a lot of people have their fiscal years different. It's, a lot of, I'll just pull this out there, a lot of schools, their fiscal year will begin in October. Yes. Or, that was, I can't name names, but one university I worked for, their fiscal year actually started in October. So in September, we had to spend our budgets or lose them. So departments went on a spending spree, but yeah.
Teal's department had a lot of parties.
We did.
In September.
Yeah.
And I got to go.
But, everybody, just determine your fiscal year.
Yes. The three biggest months that I have seen over my lifetime have been January, April, and October.
But I've also seen July to June.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I have seen July to June be a fiscal year that somebody used, and it worked. It worked for them. Yes. Because it's all about the timing of your cash flows, which is outside the scope of this particular workshop. Right. Okay. So now we're on to marketing. You got to put a lot more dollars into this because you have a lot more people involved.
Especially when you get to the end of the road, Haas.
So, hypothetically, you start your advertising at your beta phase. Yes. You actually have something in hand. Yes. You can start your advertising. I'm just putting numbers out here.
You're fine.
So I have a budget. I'm going to spend $2,000 a month up until launch, and then I'll spend $3,500.
There you go. Again, this is not necessarily accurate, but Teal's putting a big. You're putting a big number there because marketing is expensive. Right?
I did. This is just to say, marketing's expensive, so here's a big number. Right. And you're going to have one launch party. It's going to be a big one. You're going to have costume characters and free pizza. So there it is.
That better be some damn good pizza.
So you know that you're going to be. You want to stick your budget for this is $16,500 for all your marketing.
Yeah, that $5,000 launch party at PAX East, that'll get you like a small box.
Right.
Oh yeah.
with some duct tape. Right. Okay. And finally, distribution.
There you go.
Okay. So we have through Steam. We're going to be pressing discs.
You can tell we're getting goofy. This is fun though, guys. I mean, thank you for the people
and we have to mail the discs out.
Oh, we can mail those discs out. That's right.
Mail them out
in cardboard boxes.
In little cardboard boxes with pretty box art.
Oh shit!
Because this is 1999. But hey, some people still do that.
They do.
Okay, so
Shit, remember we used to actually press our own CDs of our very first game and hand them out to people.
We did, yeah.
So, do what you gotta do.
So, for an online distribution, you'll start paying for Steam because early access. A lot of folks love to do early access, and so you know, you'll
it's fine. That's
pay for that.
Again, hypothetical numbers.
Right. Okay, and you have to, let's say, if you have a physical copy of something that somebody's actually going to stick into a slot.
Oh my god! So you burn the master, and then you go get them pressed.
Yep.
Jeez and peas. They still do that though.
They still do that.
That is still a thing.
Do not laugh at it. It is still done. And think about where you're operating.
True story.
Not everything is in the United States, guys.
And you may not have enough of you may not have a strong enough internet connection in other parts of the world. Actually, some parts of the U.S.
Yes.
Where you can't get a strong enough internet connection to do digital downloads.
Yeah. Realistically. So you have to press a physical copy of something and mail it to them.
So let's say, can I throw out a number?
Throw out numbers.
Let's say 500. That is not realistic. It would cost a lot more to press CDs. Because that would probably get you about maybe 2,000.
Yeah.
Maybe about 2,000. Maybe a little more. Depends on the boxes. Depends on the boxes. The discs themselves cost next to nothing. Right. But the boxes they're mailed in or put onto GameStop's shelves or whatever, that's where all the cost goes.
Yeah, this is the pressing cost.
Pennies to make a disc.
And then here's all your mailing costs right here. And that's sent out at launch.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, it's going to cost me...
There you go.
$1,200 to post that.
Costs you more to send it than it does to make it.
Absolutely. That is a given.
That's reality, actually.
Yeah.
We did not break reality just now.
Okay, so again, you have your monthly costs broken out, and then you have your total cost over the lifetime of the project per item. And then here's your total distribution cost for the lifetime of the project. All right, now we get down to totals. Okay. This is your total expenses minus the salaries here. So this is how much it costs to actually make the game.
Right.
And then this is your salaries.
Right.
Okay.
Not realistic, but there they are. So again, that's the total.
And that's going to be the total of your project.
That's the budget. So
that is the total budget.
So in this instance, unlike with the solo dev, because this is not about getting onto a forum and bragging about how much your game costs to make. For this particular instance, unlike in the solo, go to small team, please. That almost $150,000.
Yeah.
That's the budget you would give to an angel investor, investment group, production group, whoever's going to try to fund you.
Yeah.
Or the bank loan. That's what you wouldn't get. Unlike with the solo dev, where you're pulling off the profits yourself because it's just you.
It's just you.
And that number in yellow is the number of what it actually costs to make the game. Unlike that, with small team, it's the number under U58.
Yeah.
That's the number. So you would go to an angel investor or an investment group or a bank or whatever, and you would say, this game I've projected is going to cost me $150,000 to make.
Right.
There you go.
So that's it.
That's it. Honestly, at this point, when we go to large team, I think it's pretty much the same, except more complicated and bigger numbers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So shall we do that to wrap it up? Do you have any... sorry, go ahead.
So do we have any questions about how to account for small teams? As you can see, there's a lot more that goes into it over solo dev.
Right.
Because you have more people involved.
And other people aren't going to work sweat equity for your project. Or they shouldn't.
And they absolutely should not. Everybody is getting paid.
Yeah.
Okay. Most of these are going to be contractors. Now you could have your core team. You know, let's say there's your small team. Let's say there's 6 of you.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to be somebody's going to be this class. Somebody's going to be this guy. Somebody's going to be this guy. Okay, so y'all can parcel it up over the lifetime of the whole thing. Right. But for the ones that are contracted out, this is how much you're going to pay them.
Well, let's use ourselves as an example without getting into, of course, real life numbers. Teal and I aren't paying ourselves until Studio Blues projects, whatever they are, turn a profit. However, anyone we'd contract out, whether it be artwork, coding, whatever, they would get paid in advance.
Right.
So when you have a small team, if you and another person are co-owners, you still want to budget in how much you pay yourself, because you'd want to know, you know, when you talk to people. But it's okay to have sweat equity for yourself, but do not put anyone else on that.
Do not do that,
because it opens up too many bad doors, and it seems very disingenuous. And honestly, it goes against our core philosophy of pay a person.
Well, you're not going to get your best work.
No, you're not.
And we've talked about that in our project management
and many other classes. Yeah. So
yeah. Okay, so that's it for this sheet. Yes, Video Wizard. It is so much cheaper to do it solo.
Super duper, dude. Super duper.
But it's the hardest to do it solo because you're doing everything.
And it's going to cost a lot more to do it by yourself. In
time.
A lot more time, a lot more effort, a lot more energy.
A lot more of your own money. Yeah.
That is why... Well, I recommend, I'm not going to speak for Teal, I recommend if you're going to do a solo project that you want to make money off of, do something small that innovates interesting, like Among Us.
Yeah, Among Us.
You know, but don't make an Among Us or a Minecraft clone, but do something like that will have addictive, replayable, that will take advantage of that gameplay loop. And then use that, because if you want to make your epic Final Fantasy style RPG by yourself, well, I mean, let's talk about BG. BG made an amazing game, but it took him 5 years, I think. Yeah. 5 years. That's a lot of time. You know, so, I mean, just think on that.
Okay, let's go to large teams.
Oh, so it's gonna suck.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's go to view. Let's make it zoom.
View,
130.
view.
All right.
Yay. All right.
Just start throwing in big ones.
Okay.
Big in numbers. All right.
Okay. So, for these large team, big team projects, you're going to have investors.
Yes.
Absolutely. You are going to need investors. You're going to want investors.
Yes.
And what happens a lot of times is that investors will give you money up front, and what you want to do is parse it out over the lifetime of your project.
Don't blow it all at once.
Okay. So they'll give you money, you know, prior to month one, but you're not going to stick all that money, you know, all 500K of that money into month one. You're going to split it out.
So can we just start throwing out large hypotheticals here?
Let's just throw out large hypotheticals. Right. Let's make it fun.
Okay, so let's say every month the investors will drop, and this is not realistic, but let's say 70,000.
Okay.
I mean, I guess for a small AAA game, that could work.
So yeah, these investors.
Yeah. And these could be anything from angel investors to investment groups, banking group.
Yeah.
It all depends.
And they're going to give you money up until it turns gold.
Yes.
And then that's it. They won't. At that point, they're going to want to see your.
Oh yeah, they're going to want an ROI. They're going to want an ROI. Not even a question. Okay.
Okay. So then you've also got some crowdfunding.
Let's say that's 10,000 a month.
Yep. So that'll start in the production phase.
Yep.
Because no, you don't want it or need it before then.
Right. And technically, if your investment's high enough, you don't need to go crowd.
Right.
You know, or if your investments suck, you have to crowdfund. There's many different ways. There's many different scenarios. We're just throwing out a hypothetical again.
Right.
To show you guys how money can work.
And then other sources, bank loans.
Want to emulate an angel?
Yeah.
Let's emulate an angel. So let's do $50,000 each time. Actually, let's do $50,000 for the first one, and the second one, let's make that $100,000. Again, we're just tossing out numbers.
Okay.
So let's say your first angel investor gives you, here's your lump sum, $50,000. Boom.
Yeah. He's like, here's $50,000.
I believe in your project.
Yeah. And he does it after, let's say, you know, he does it after you've been working on it for a while, and you happen to run into him at a party or convention, and he's like, oh, that sounds pretty good. Here's $50,000. And
this can happen, by the way, with larger groups, you know, especially if you have a rep, you could have that vertical. See, we've already passed the vertical slice. So you could run into an angel investor. You're at a party. You're at the bar at PAX or E3.
Right.
You give him a drink. He talks, and he's like, "Oh, that's cool. Well, do you have a vertical slice?" And then he, could you show me what is? Show me. He wouldn't ask for a vertical slice. He would say, "Could you show me what you've got?" Then you could say, "Okay, boom," and you show him the vertical slice. Maybe you have your laptop ready, and he's like, "Oh, that's awesome. Okay, hold on." And he gets your email address, and then next thing you know, he's sending you the information that you need to get a $50,000 check.
And this is under other sources because again, you're projecting that you're over the lifetime of this project, you're going to run into at least 2 people.
Right.
Okay.
But this could also be, as Teal said, these could be just as easily bank loans.
Bank loans, for sure. I'm going to get a bank loan at this point in production because I know I'm going to have a lot of expenses here.
Right.
So I'm going to make sure that I can cover that.
Right.
And, again, okay, at the end of production, we're going to be going into alpha. Okay, we're going to go into overdrive now. So I'm going to need lots of money. So I'm going to take out another bank loan here.
Yeah.
So, that's all that is.
Right. Other sources, you could split it up into many different subcategories.
Oh, lots of subcategories. Yeah. Trust me. Lots of them. Okay. Right. Okay, so development costs, game engine. This is where R&D comes in.
So let's go with a proprietary engine.
Yep, we're developing our own engine. We have our own engine we're going to use.
Yep, because otherwise we'd have to or we could just say we're buying seats for Unreal or Unity.
We could do that too.
Let's do that. Let's buy seats for an engine that already exists. Let's say it's a 100-person team.
Okay.
And let's say it's $50 a seat.
There we go.
Which is not realistic, but we're going to say it anyway. So 50 times 100, 5,000. I can't imagine a company spending that little, but
yeah,
it's all right.
Okay. So, and this is per month.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Stretch that sucker out.
You want to stretch it out?
Whole time, right?
The whole.
Yeah. How much is it going to be? I can't wait to see that number. Oh my God, $95,000 just for your game. And that is why some companies develop their own. Right there. See that $95,000? That's why. Because this shit can get expensive.
Yeah.
Now sometimes
and you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to be using the engine at this point. No, Haas. You're paying for seats. You have to pay that outside company. And they don't care if you're using the seats or not.
Right.
You're bloody paying for them because you signed a contract.
And you need to have it ready because after you launch, there's going to be bugs.
Bug.
So see how it's almost $100,000? That is why a lot of places opt to make proprietary engines, because at that point you're just paying for the labor. But in order for the spreadsheet, we have to do
that. Okay. So assets.
Again, buying them, right?
Buying them, because in-house development, you've already got people on staff who will do that, and that's accounted for elsewhere. Okay, so let's say that we have to purchase our assets.
So we're going to buy some starter assets.
Yeah, we're going to buy some starter assets.
Okay, let's say...
and the rest will be developed in-house. Okay. We got to have some starter assets.
You want to highball it or a little ball it?
Let's go ahead and highball it. Why the hell not?
$10,000.
Let's go $10,000.
They're just dropping $10,000 on assets.
Because we're going to need to start off on that.
Yeah.
Later on, Lucy's team can whip up some more trees and bushes and shit for us.
Yeah, after July 2022, there will still be bugs, so cost will be. Yes, it will be.
Oh yeah.
As long as the project is being worked on, you have to have a seat for the engine. That is why it's sometimes cheaper to go royalty based. Remember, with this model here, they're technically not paying royalties for the engine because they're owning a seat.
Correct.
So, it's balanced. How much is your game going to make? Is your game going to make 6 million, 60 million? If that's the case, it might be cheaper just to get the license and pay that cost up front. Or even cheaper to develop your own engine.
Or develop your own engine.
All right, licensing.
Okay, so licensing. Okay. Let's say that we want to make a game. It's an action-adventure game, and it has Disney characters in there. You have to license all those Disney characters.
Isn't that technically Kingdom Hearts?
I didn't say that. I just said it was a action RPG, JRPG, that had Disney characters in it.
That grin she just gave me, guys, was beautiful.
Okay. So you negotiate with the owner, the big D of those characters, and yeah, they'll let you have them for.
That's about right. That's about right.
And
shit, making a Star Wars game, I say.
Yeah. And
yeah.
And let's say for sake of saying that instead of paying them all up front, that you negotiate to pay them quarterly.
Okay.
For them. So
basically, we're gonna go like what, with 100,000 every quarter.
125. Yeah.
Okay, let's do that then.
So.
But it's the same concept.
Yep.
Okay.
So every quarter. You have to open this up.
Yeah. This is why people, by the way, this is why people go to school specifically to do this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
because quarters work in 3. That's a third. The October, right?
Yeah.
October. Yep. And then that's it.
Yeah.
You've paid off the amount that the big D owes you. You don't have to make the next payment in the next April, because at that point you've paid it in full.
Yeah. Hang on.
The licensing fee in full.
So you paid it. You paid it over 4 installments,
which is fine.
Yeah.
Some companies will let you do that. By the way, they'll either require upfront or installments, but it really depends. And again, we're not lawyers, so always talk to the right people.
Yeah. Okay. So development costs. This is for materials.
Yes.
Now you have labor. Yep. Labor.
We should probably not lowball these. We should probably be as realistic as we can.
Nope.
Nope.
I'm just going to throw numbers
You're going to throw numbers at a train. All right.
Okay. So,
so much money. Okay.
I condensed this team leads and or directors in this one column, but honestly, you should split it out.
Yes.
So under above level designers, you'll have lead designer.
Yeah.
Above writers, you'll have lead writer.
Right.
Lead artist. Right. Lead animator. Lead coder, lead sound engineer, right. All of that. Every single one of these has got to have a lead.
Yes.
Because these are teams.
And what you would do is you would actually parse out, if you were doing this correctly, you would put down a row for every single person.
Yes.
You'd have like coder 1, coder 2, coder 3, coder 4.
Exactly.
Creative director, music director, that kind of thing. You would do all of that.
And every person underneath them is going to have a row, a little space. Because you have to account for everybody.
That way, if you have to add in a new coder halfway through, they would add a new row and then assign how much money, and they would balance that against how much money the company has. So if the company can only allocate $35,000 for a coder, my God, then that's all they're going to be offering to pay that person. But then again, that's going well beyond the scope of this. Like, well beyond. Director 3 quit due to family issues. Video.
Yeah. Okay. So,
just going to start tossing numbers out there, baby?
Yeah, we're just going to start tossing.
Oh,
and let's not forget the business manager.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have all these, you have people who are doing the work, the creative work. You have the people who are managing the creative work.
Right.
You need a business manager to manage the money.
Yes.
Of this. How much is it costing? They need to oversee legal. They need to oversee accounting.
Yep.
They need to oversee the travel expenses, studio. That's what your business manager is for. They don't saddle their team leads and directors with that stuff.
No.
There's a business manager assigned to this gaming project.
Right.
And their job is to manage the ops side of the project.
There's a reason why Pete Hines doesn't do what Todd Howard does, and Todd Howard doesn't do what Pete Hines does.
Exactly.
One more thing to note before we start. Actually, you can start putting in numbers if you want. While I tell you guys this, you're not seeing things like CEO, CFO, CIO.
No.
These are just the budgets for the game project.
Yeah.
This is not the same as the budget for the company and its payroll, up to and including its executives, all the way to people in the mailroom.
Right.
That is well beyond the scope of this classroom, but that's also totally different ball of earwax. Mm-hmm. That is massive amounts of money. That's why they have accounting departments.
Exactly. See, these are all contract positions.
Yes.
They're farming out this stuff.
Yeah.
Hypothetically. All this is farmed out. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, I don't care. We're throwing numbers out.
Just toss out the big ones. Yeah, that's actually kind of accurate.
Okay. So these people get paid all the way through the life cycle of the project.
All of it.
Okay.
So
all of it.
You don't even want to know. But this is actually indicative of the truth. The directors and the leads make a ton of money.
They do.
And they get paid the entire time. Usually through a salary, but sometimes they get bonuses and such and such.
Exactly.
Video Chaos said no lead. I guess Teal called all the shots. You're not wrong. Video says that's why Square Enix was unhappy with $6 million in sales for Tomb Raider. Yes.
Yes.
Because that was not even close to covering.
Not even close to covering the costs.
Exactly.
It costs to make. Yeah. So the business manager. $1 million. I would love
that's the CEO. The business manager. That's Teal.
Okay. They get paid over the lifetime of the project. Okay.
The numbers keep going up.
And then you have your level designers. And you'll have one or two near the beginning. And then as it gets more and more into it, you're going to add in more and more level designers.
Right.
On this.
Where do you want to make those changes shown? Where you put a smaller number and then a larger number?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I do.
Cool.
We'll just have two here.
Yeah. That's some cheap ass level design. $2,500 design a level.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Welcome to the industry, boys and girls. DQ11 doing $250K in North America. That's fine if disappointed, but expected.
Yeah.
Tomb Raider only $6 million, where $10 million is expected. However, yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right, and yes, DQ11 did do better.
Yes, it did.
Right, because Square Enix does not see North America being the right market for DQ11. That's Japan, Asia. That's the market. But Tomb Raider, abso-freaking-lutely, North America should be their market, and the fact that it didn't hit its goal, that's a problem. People lost I guarantee you people lost their jobs over that. Mm-hmm. And probably not the people who caused the problem. Probably the poor schnooks at the bottom, which is another reason I hate the AAA industry sometimes.
Okay. And now this is where you're going to start adding more people on. Okay.
Yeah. Production.
Yep.
My favorite part.
And, yeah.
By the way, is anyone getting DQ11 Definitive Edition S for Steam? It looks like it's going to be pretty awesome. I might get it. So I can marry Serena.
Oh, your level designer.
Okay, so you're going to say they just add in an extra one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for a second, okay?
Yeah, for a second. And we may have bleed overs of others going into launch and post-launch.
Right.
We're just pulling pure hypotheticals where everyone's let go as gold.
Exactly.
Okay.
Your mileage will vary.
Right.
Okay, so you have writers, and you'll have two of them on a part of planning. Right. So basically 2 writers.
Yeah, sure.
So
that's not too disaccurate for smaller AAAs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, fine. $50. That's about how much we get paid.
Okay. So you're writing, and you're writing. Let's say about right here, and then you're gonna ramp it up because there's different dialogues and different parts of the game. You gotta have a lot of people.
Yeah, those writers during pre-production are mostly doing GDD stuff.
Yeah.
And some dialogue, but suddenly a lot of dialogue starts coming out during production, alpha, beta, etc. Lore mastery.
Yep.
Lore mastery. That's actually, I think Bethesda uses that term.
Okay. And then you don't need as many
during late beta. Yeah, during beta. Yeah. let one go and hold on to the other 3.
Yeah. Okay.
Such a volatile industry, guys. By the way, anyone who ever is looking at wanting to be a part of the AAA industry, look at these numbers and you can kind of see there are points where if you're not a regular employee with a company, you may lose your job at a certain point.
Yep.
It is possible. It's highly possible. And if you're a contractor working for a game project, you're going to lose your job. At a certain point, they're going to say, thank you so much. Shake hands, put this on your blah, blah, here's your portfolio, your name will... Either your name's in the credits, or we're going to buy you out so that your name doesn't go in the credits.
Exactly.
And
that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we may or may not call you for the next one. Just depends. Just depends.
So yeah, artists.
Yeah.
You know, you'll bring 2 of them on. Maybe, you know, a couple, right?
Sure.
To help you with the planning.
Yeah, this could be like a concept artist and a 3D artist or a texture artist. I mean, it depends. But we're spitballing numbers, so.
Right. So
just 2 artists is fine. Artists make more than red. Oh shoot, if Fox is still in the chat, she'll be like, use you.
Okay. So now we have a lot of artists.
Oh yes, definitely during production and alpha.
You gotta have a lot of artists, a lot of warm bodies doing stuff.
Oh yeah, because you'll be cranking out the assets, just cranking out textures, making materials, shader materials.
Beta you don't need.
Yeah, dropping a few more.
As many.
Right.
There you go. Okay.
Look at Fox. Yeah, more payroll. Yeah. More. We love you, Fox.
Now you have animators, and you don't even need them until production.
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, for the vertical slice, you're probably going to use stock animations that came with your assets.
Yeah. So. You're not going to need actual animators until you're actually producing.
Right.
So.
And this would also, just for the sake of saying, guys, this would also include motion capture people.
So you're going to need them.
Yeah.
All the way through.
Which, by the way, if you're doing motion capture on a AAA studio and you're doing motion capture with character that is based off a celebrity, you generally have that celebrity come in. Not always, but you generally have the celebrity come in. Like, for example, Beyond Two Souls had William Dafoe and who was it who played girl, whatever her name is. They actually came in and mocapped their characters.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves mocapped for Cyberpunk, and that's an added cost. Motion capture dude A and motion capture dude B do not cost as much as celebrity putting on a mocap suit. So keep that in mind when you're budgeting.
Right.
William Dafoe is going to cost more because it's William Dafoe.
Sound engineer. You know, the guys that do all the sound effects and shit.
Right. Right. Is that one or is that several people?
We're just going to say that it's, yeah, we're just going to say several people.
Okay, yeah. Because my sister would probably go, that's not accurate, Theo.
No, it's not. It's absolutely not accurate. None of this is. Absolutely not.
And then musicians, we're going to assume it's an in-house musician and not you're contracting like Snoop Dogg or someone.
Right. But there's 1 or 2 things you need to contract out.
Yes.
Because of reasons.
Right.
So, you're going to budget for that.
Yeah. Them numbers are getting big. Numbers are getting real big.
You need somebody for that. And,
I see. So you're skipping months because you're not going to need someone making music all the time.
That's right.
Got it. And actually, that is reality. That is very realistic for this one.
And
you know.
And then there's something wrong. Something really glitched in the beta. So it has to be fixed.
Right, because a lot of times the game composer, the musician, like Nobuo Uematsu, will just make all the music within a period of time with any other artist.
Yeah.
But there are times when stuff needs to be re-recorded. There, you know, you hear a scratch or it doesn't loop properly or whatever, and that's extra musical studio time, and that takes time.
Okay. Now your VAs, you don't need them until late in the game.
Right.
But you want quality voice work, you're going to pay for it.
You're going to pay for it. And if it's a celebrity, you're going to pay more.
Yeah. You are paying these people. They are the voice of your game.
Okay, yes, that's a question for you.
Okay, let's see. Where's the question? I'm sorry.
It's the last thing.
Okay, Teal, have you worked on a game with family besides Steel? No, I have not. I will not work on a game with my family.
Right.
They have no clue what they're doing.
The only members of my family who had, my family, not Teal's, who've had any experience in anything creative, my father, prior to passing, was a musician in his spare time, and was really good at synthesizing and acoustic music. He actually did a lot of my older film projects and indie stuff I did, he would make music for. And my sister's a sound engineer. That's it. Everyone else in my family is like doctors, lawyers. I don't even know what half of them do. Like stuff.
Right.
But the only person in my family who's ever done anything professional is my sister. My father, it was a hobby because he was in the aerospace industry.
Okay. You don't need your testers until in your beta phase.
Teehee.
So that's it.
And by the way, that thing there for testers can extend all the way to launch and post-launch. And in fact, let's just go ahead and bring it over.
Let's go ahead and bring it over.
Because that is actually very accurate, especially for a AAA game. You're going to have that all the way to launch and beyond.
There we go. Okay, so.
Whew, that's a number.
Yeah, here's your final price tag for
just
development costs.
Just labor. Labor and, yeah. And
no, labor and licensing. You could break it out, have a subtotal here for materials. So this is for materials, and this is for labor, and then here's your total. Yeah, absolutely, you can break it out.
Yeah,
and you should. Yes. You should break it out.
You should.
Okay, so there we go. 13 mil.
That's not wrong.
All right. Here we go. General administrative expense. Okay.
Shall we throw out words?
Yeah.
So let's say it's a building.
It's a building.
So it's a AAA studio, but not a massive AAA studio.
Right.
So let's say that they're going to pay $15,000 a month. That's going to be for everything. That's electricity, utilities, rent, maintenance, facilities, the whole 9 yards.
All of it.
Yeah.
So
that's not.
This is a set cost.
Yeah, that's not completely off the ballpark.
It's a fixed cost.
Yeah.
So that has to get paid.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, let's say you're going to be having to have quarterly accounting.
So this is going to be outsourced, or is this going to be part of the company?
Okay. Let's just say, for the sake of saying that you're outsourcing it.
Okay.
Rather, because you don't have anybody who's an accountant in-house, because you may not.
Right.
You may not have anybody who's an accountant in-house.
Right. Smaller studios, even if they're AAA, may have that, but they will hire out an accounting firm.
Right.
So why don't we say
it's a monthly expense? Let's just do that.
Monthly.
It's monthly.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking of some of the developers I used to work for.
Oh yes.
They didn't do game development. They did just general software development. Right. And they paid an outside firm to take care of their books.
Right.
So it was a monthly expense.
Yeah. So let's put something reflective of that. Doesn't have to be exactly, of course. That sounds right.
And again, that's going to be a
that's a major cost.
That's a major cost.
But then again, it still costs less than it does to not get it done right.
Okay. Yay, travel.
Whee!
This is where you...
Video said that his family doesn't even know they're working on a game, and his sister's like, "You're working on a game?" That's cute, Video. That's cute. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Deal. Go ahead, baby.
Okay, so travel. There's going to be a lot more oversight here.
Yes.
And a lot stricter controls.
Yes.
You will only travel if the budget says you will travel.
Right.
And you will travel where, when, and how you are told.
In other words, bigger companies, the bigger the more so, will travel to places like E3, PAX East, PAX West. I don't know if that's still a thing. And they'll do all that, but they'll plan it in advance. Because it can get so expensive. Because not only are they traveling, sending their big people, perhaps flying celebrities over, but they're also paying for booths. Did anyone find out how much EA pays for E3? You need to look that up. you know, they have, so in advance, usually a year or two in advance, they'll pay for these things.
Yep.
You know, and that'll be hotel rooms, you know, and like I said, Todd Howard does not stay at a Mobile 6.
No. But you know that you will need to have this money in hand. You'll be paying this out in this month, and this month.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you'll be making your reservation a year in advance, but guess what? You're not paying for it until this month.
That's true. They'll just put a card to hold it. That's what Business Amex is for.
Okay. And you have an attorney on retainer.
Okay.
Yep.
So is it a yearly retainer or is it a monthly retainer?
It's however you want to negotiate. You can negotiate by the month, by quarterly, semi-annually.
Yeah.
A year. But we'll just do it by the year for the sake of saying, okay?
That's fine.
No.
That was cool. I thought you meant 150,000. I was like, that's a word.
Okay.
Awesome.
So by the year
2099. Travel, you can just travel, walk a block out here.
Seriously, yeah. So there's your retainer fees. Okay, so
much money.
Total DNA.
You know, by the way, guys, when you look at these numbers, you're probably going, oh my god! We don't want to accidentally show them the total until we're done. But you're looking at all these numbers going, oh my god, right? This is nothing.
This is just, you know, pulling numbers out of our butt.
You
know.
The cost of doing business in this industry for the larger corporations.
Yeah.
I guarantee you the budget of this game is going to be under 100 million. Guarantee you.
Yeah.
Okay, take a look.
Okay. Your technical expenses. All right, start throwing some numbers out here. So, cloud hosting.
Let's say they're going to do Dropbox Business with 100 seats. So let's say $20,000 a month. Okay. I'm just pulling.
We're just pulling things out of our butt.
Right out of my ass. That's probably not accurate. But let's just do it. Okay, right. Servers. So server maintenance, a server farm. This includes things like RAID.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and say 10,000 a month. Again, I'm just pulling numbers out of my ass. Not Raid Shadow Legends. All right, for this one, I want to do something. Instead of having a line go all the way through, I want to go ahead and say we're going to buy all our workstations up front, and then everything afterwards would just be a budgeted maintenance cost.
Okay.
So let's put 300,000 as the cost of the stations.
Got it.
And the cost of maintenance, that's not labor maintenance, that's part maintenance. Let's say that's 10,000 each month.
That's what I thought.
Not 100%,
yeah,
but it's close enough for government work. A small, large team budget from Steel and Steel. Yeah. You're not wrong, dude. It's these industries are not cheap.
They are not.
Okay. Motion capture would be the same thing. So we're going to do an upfront cost of 50,000. It's not bad for a studio. Yeah. And then have the maintenance cost be 2,000 a month. Again, I'm just pulling numbers out of my ass.
We are just pulling things out.
Because it always costs less to maintain than it does to buy.
Yeah.
By the way, maintain means keep it running before it breaks.
Right.
Breakage is a massive issue. So if that $50,000 motion capture studio breaks, that's a lot worse than spending that $2,000 a month keeping it running.
Yeah.
Graphics programs, let's just say we're going to buy them all outright.
Yeah, we're going to buy them
first off cost. So let's say 60,000.
Yeah, say 60,000.
60,000.
Okay. We're going to buy that modeling program.
Let's say another 60,000. Yeah. Just again, I'm not even. These are not even accurate numbers.
And then
10,000.
Yeah.
We're throwing numbers out.
We're just throwing numbers out. Okay. So yeah, looking at the technical expenses. So you're looking at $1.2 million.
Cost of business.
Yeah.
Just $1.2 million.
Yeah, how much? Okay. Marketing. So again, you have advertising, launch parties. You're going to add convention booths.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves, celebrities. So there's going to be a lot more here than just these two things. But I just threw these two things up because, just for hypothetical examples.
Fallout 76 tournaments. Okay, so let's go. All right, so this is where we're going to be a little more accurate.
Yeah.
Okay. Not accurate, but better. So advertisement is probably going to be exponentially higher each month.
Yeah.
So let's say 300,000. Again, that's you'll see where I'm going and see why I say accurate.
Yeah.
Then $500,000. Okay. Then 700,000. Then $1 million. And we'll say 1.5 million.
Yeah.
The reason I'm throwing out these numbers is you can see the immense cost that goes into marketing. It would probably be a lot higher.
Oh yeah.
But I'm pulling something out. So let's say $500,000 for the launch party, and we'll just say it's, you know, it's a good booth at E3. I said $500,000, not $1.5 million, but all right, you want to?
Got it.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
So $4.5 million to market the game. That's actually pretty low, but it's still, we get ideas.
Right.
All right, so let's go to. Yeah.
Okay. So now we
publication.
Okay.
All right, so now it's publish it.
Publisher, digital, miscellaneous. Here we go. Yeah.
So let's do that and scroll up just a little bit so profit, loss, and total expenses can't be seen. There you go. Okay. So let's go all the way to the right. Let's do this thing.
Right.
Okay.
That's where this is.
So assuming that the developer's not the publisher.
Yeah.
They have to pay the publisher, and they're going to pay the publisher a cost generally and a percentage generally. Yeah. So let's just, I mean, we're pulling numbers again out of nowhere. So let's say it's going to be, let's say it's 150,000 spread over 3 months.
Yeah.
So 50,000, 50,000, 50,000. That's going to be the deal that this hypothetical company. So, okay, then it's 450,000 spread out over 3 months. Okay, sure. Digital platform, we'll just say this is getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper.
Yeah,
let's just say 2,000 a month. That's, again, I don't have that information in front of me to give a good example if that's right or not. But I can tell you how much it's going to cost to press CDs or DVDs, discs. So let's say pressing of the discs is going to be
this is miscellaneous distribution.
Oh, so we don't do that anymore. So
well, that would include, like, if you're going to be pressing mainly anything that's physical. I
see.
Physical distribution.
So again, let's just spitball it.
That you're doing this outside the publisher, because the publisher is going to be handling a lot of stuff. But let's just say you're doing some miscellaneous stuff. See, the publisher is going to handle
most of it. Okay, so that's why you.
This is just miscellaneous stuff.
So say 50-50, 50,000, 50,000, just because it could be anything.
It could be anything. Right.
Okay. So
in our hypothetical, we're spending a total of a little over $500,000 for our distribution.
Okay. So now let's find out how much this hypothetical large team game costs.
Okay, $20 million in development costs, $12 million in salaries.
It's almost a $35 million game.
Yep.
There you go. So let's look at each one of them. Let's look at the profit loss for each one of these games. Or start with solo.
Okay. So solo dev.
Solo dev. Keeping in mind, it's actually 7,888.
Right.
85. That's how much the game actually costs. Okay, then go to small team. Okay, so it jumped up from there to about 150,000, and then it jumped up on large team to about 35 million.
35 million.
So that kind of can give you guys an idea of the paradigm shift.
Yes.
It's different. What about sales specials? That doesn't matter. That's later. We're talking about launch.
All we're talking about is how much it's going to cost us to develop this game.
Right. That is what the people who make budgets look at.
Yes.
How much is the cost to develop this game, including labor? Because they know then they have to make that much back.
Yeah.
In order to recoup their losses. Video mentioned earlier, Tomb Raider making only $6 million in sales. It cost $10 million to make. They took a $4 million loss. Now, for a company like Square Enix, that's not that bad, but that still hits their bottom line.
Yeah.
That's $4 million they can't use for something else. And that's what you got to think about. So that's why, again, there are people who go to school and study their whole life just for this.
Because there's so much that goes into this, so many moving parts. But you can see the scale.
Yeah.
The scale increases exponentially. The larger you are, the more people and moving parts is involved, and you have to pay for all that.
You do.
And you have to know up front how much you're going to be paying over the lifetime of the project.
Right.
Because you've got to make sure you have enough revenue to cover this.
Yeah. So you are going to be pitching these dollar amounts. Scroll down. Telling your people this game is going to cost $35 million.
Yeah.
And that's it. So the bottom line is that number right there is what you would tell whoever it's going to cost.
Yeah.
We already went over voice acting, Chaos. It was one of the costs that was figured in. Yeah.
Voice acting.
Yeah. So anyway, any last minute questions, anyone? Because we've been doing this for about 3 hours.
Oh, yeah.
I am starving. My food's downstairs cooling. I made teriyaki chicken and I want it.
So, yeah, this is in a nutshell how to develop budgets.
Yes.
So, do I have any questions about this?
Yeah.
You will be, when you're developing your budgets, this is assuming that you have already mapped out your project management map.
Right.
Your roadmap.
Right.
So that you know what you're working with and your timeline for working with it.
Yeah.
You really can't put numbers to things until you know what things you're paying for and when they got to be paid for.
That's why we said this is the companion to project management. Because the first thing you're going to want to do, and this is whether it's a solo project or a large team, you put together your project plan of how long it's going to take you to make your game.
Yeah.
Then you're going to put together your list of things that are required, your physical and human assets. Then after all that's done, then you put together your budget.
Yes.
You don't have to do this, guys, especially if you're a sole developer.
Right.
But it's going to make your job a hell of a lot easier.
It makes it a lot easier. Yeah.
And we recommend, you know, oh, got to put all this extra work.
This keeps you on track because the biggest problem sole developers run into is expense creep.
Yep.
And you're not realizing how much you're spending until, you know, well after the fact. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. I've just blown $15,000. What the hell did I do?
Right. Chaos asks a very good question. How would you price a DLC add-on? That's pure profit. Well, it's not pure profit. No, that's not. Micros are pure profit. Screw that shit.
DLC, again, you would price out the budget. What are you going to need to make it?
Yeah.
In terms of physical assets,
there you go,
virtual resources, and labor.
Right.
And you're going to treat it exactly as you would this game.
Right.
Just on a smaller scale.
It's the exact same concept.
It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You're not going to have so many of these phases. You know, you're going to go basically, you know, 2 months of plan, you know, a couple months of planning, you know, a couple months of production.
Alpha might be a month or two.
A month or two, alpha, beta, a month or two, and then you're going to launch it.
Yeah. The only thing is, and this is beyond the scope of this, is you want to have your DLC a little bit better bug tested. Yeah. Because you don't want to break the base game.
So you're going to spend a lot more on your bug testers and your QA.
That's what I would do.
You're going to budget a lot more for that.
Yeah, but you would
really, really want that to work.
Exactly. But the project and budget management aspects would be almost identical.
Yeah.
Now, this is beyond the scope of this. I keep saying that, but it's true. But this is a little bit of extra to work with, okay? Once you have your cost, go back to the large team. With that total of 35 million. So what I would like you to do, Teal, is go one step down and put 60. Just type in 60. And then go one step down. Right there. And type equals.
The word equals?
Just the equal sign. You're going to do a formula. Okay, so click on equals. So I want you to do this. 64U. So the cost, the 35 million. Yeah. She sees what I'm doing.
What is it? 64?
No. Just go ahead and just, what I want you to do is I want you to, yeah, that. There you go. And then divided by 66U.
Okay.
So roughly 582,000 copies of this game has to be sold.
Yeah.
In order to break even. Yeah, okay, so actually TR Tomb Raider was 6, okay, so 6 million copies, not dollars, okay. But you see what I'm saying, is what we did here, and this is super rough, this is not how they do it. But the idea is they take how much the game costs to make, divide it by roughly how much the game's gonna cost, and then they come up with the number of copies they have to sell. So in this hypothetical, they have to sell 582,183 copies to break even.
Yeah.
There you go. No, it's not a joke. No, it's $69.99. Yes. Okay, type in $69.99 for 60. Type in $69.99 because that is actually more indicative of reality.
I'll just say 70.
Sure. Okay, so a little under 500,000. That's it. So anything over that number is profit at that point. So if they sell 1 million, they've made back twice what they put in.
That's right.
That is business 101.
Yeah.
It's like,
so there you go, guys.
That's it. So hopefully this helped you guys. You know, I mean, hopefully it's been eye-opening for you all. You know, we go over in these creator classrooms a lot of the game theory of what it takes to make games. We go over things like game development, game testing, the gameplay loop, etc. But every now and then we put forth something that shows the business side of thing, like this, project management.
Yeah.
These things you have to know too.
If you're going to make this your job, your career, your main source of income, you got to know this stuff.
Yeah.
You have got to know project management. You've got to know budgets.
Yeah.
You have to.
You have to. So we'll put this up on the internets.
Yeah.
On Google Sheets, as well as links to the source materials that Teal found.
Right.
And look at them over in your leisure. And hopefully your next project will be a little bit better budgeted. And you'll, you know, it'll be more successful because, as we said in the very beginning, when you budget money, you suddenly have money. Yes.
Yes, you do. And you can keep your costs under control.
Absolutely. Any last minute comment, Teal? I think we're out of questions here, but do you have any last minute comments, honey?
I just have a final comment, and that is, if you can, take a survey accounting course.
Yes.
I know that most of you are creatives, but you've got to have a little bit of numbers business know-how so you do not get taken advantage of by others who do have this.
Yes.
And trust me, there are people out there who prey on creatives.
Yes.
And steal their money and steal their dreams.
They do.
So please take a survey course.
Yeah.
In bookkeeping, accounting, even just budgets.
Yeah.
I'm sure Udemy, when they have a sale for $11.99,
yes,
you can take a short course on that just to get an idea of what it is you need to be looking for, aiming for, and so you don't get taken advantage of.
Yeah, because
there's really not much more.
There really isn't.
Say.
There isn't. I don't. You really have said it very succinctly. You know.
Yeah.
I wanna give you a.
Thank you.
I really do. Teal, this was amazing. Teal put this together, by the way. This is all. I just spoke. Teal did it all. Teal did it all.
Thank you.
How do you get to the price of your game? It just depends, and that's really kind of beyond. Like I keep saying beyond the scope, but that's really its own thing. Generally speaking, it's whatever the industry accepted standard is, or what they feel they have to sell in order to break even.
Right.
So, like, I feel I have to sell 1,000 copies to break even. So if I sell 1,000 copies at $15 a piece, then I'll have made back my $15,000.
Or you see your cost here, so you're like, okay,
right.
If I'm going to, let's say I want to sell the price of it $20.
Yeah.
So how many of these do I have to sell?
Right.
Okay. Oh my God, is that a realistic number?
Right.
So you look at that.
Yeah.
You look at what are similar studios or developers charging for their games that are a similar genre and scope to yours.
A lot of it is looking at what other people do.
If other people are charging $15 for games that are like yours, and you're wanting to charge $22, you're not going to get very many in sales.
That is why there are some people in our community who do not sell games even though their games are good. Because they're overcharging, because they think it's worth more. It may be worth more artistically, but it doesn't mean it's worth more monetarily.
Right.
Slime support, yes.
Yay! Yeah. Slime support.
Yeah, anyone out there who's watching, give Teal a slime, because this is all her. This was really rough to put together because you have to dig into economics, marketing, finance, accounting, a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
So hopefully this helped you guys out. So, you know, another clap for Teal.
Thank you. Thank you.
Slime love for Teal. And you ready to call it, baby?
Yeah, let's call it.
We're gonna call it. We're gonna call this sucker because I have teriyaki chicken waiting for me. All right, thank you again, everybody. Once again, lots of love. This has been really good, Teal. As always, you are amazing.
Thank you very much. I hope that I was able to impart some knowledge and wisdom to you guys.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Join us tomorrow night. No, I'm sorry, Wednesday night.
Wednesday night
for Dragon Quest XI, and Thursday for whatever game you guys end up voting for. Don't know what it is yet.
Voting is open.
And then Friday is our AMA.
Yeah.
So if you like what you saw, leave a smackdown like button below, subscribe to our channel, consider supporting us on Patreon, connect with us over Facebook, Twitter, Discord, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you next time.